Na, 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 na. Screw you, Giroud. Hello, Gooners. How'd you like them apples? It's not a bad day to be an Arsenal fan, is it? And because it's not a bad day to be an Arsenal fan, I went straight to the box. And first in the box is Ant 235-100. Then we had the Colts on. Supercalifragilistic expialidocious is there. Useless pathetic noob. Cyan Vesh. David. Archie. Oh, who was next? Thunder Road. Thunder Road's there. Paul Nell's there. John Bernstein's there. Khalid Alduna. Joshua Page. Ron Ree. Boyten Dio. Joshua. Phil Macker. Daniel GFP. Daniel Cronin is there. Sam Fisher. Luke Howard. Oh, hello. How do you fucking like them apples? How do you like it? It's not bad, boys. It's not bad, is it? What a game. What a way to finish off a season. Talk about redemption. Ooh la la. Let's get straight into it. Before I introduce today's panel, I know two guys who right about now are looking down and are smiling, drinking, dancing, and would be so proud of our performance today and so proud of the way the club has come back after a tough season. So as we've said all year, the show's dedicated to Steve. The show's dedicated to Dave, the Goonaholic. We love them. We miss them both. It's never the same without them. So, boys, I hope you're looking down. Hope you're having a drink. I hope you're smiling. I hope, you're in a better place. Love you guys. Next shout out. Today's FA Cup. It's the 140th, I think. Because we've won 10% of them, haven't we? Piece of piss. But it was the head FA Cup final. I think it shows a lot of how far we've come. An FA Cup final is dedicated to mental health, and that's brilliant. So, my first guest, Josh. Say hello.
Hello.
So, Josh, are you going to be bathing in Danny Murphy's tears later?
No, Frank Lampard's.
Oh! Sir.
It's a fine vintage. They go all the way back to Frank Senior tears, but they're not quite as good as the Harry Redknapp tears as well, because apparently that's his uncle. Have you heard? Because I'm pretty sure that was 98% of the BBC's coverage before the game. That was, it was about Frank Lampard's family tree. We're all right. Don't want to know now. Okay,
all that bullshit for the BBC is over. Oh. And talking of over, here he is. He missed the last cup final against Chelsea, the last FA Cup final against Chelsea. So I'm super chuffed he's on today. It's the dirty, smelly, horrible Pirates. Say hello, Kris.
Hello, Kris. You beautiful bastards. Never in doubt. Never, ever in doubt, was it? Never, ever in doubt.
I don't know. I should have asked you 7 minutes in, mate.
No, never in doubt. Fucking Captain America bullshit. Get the fuck out of here, Chelsea, you bunch of muppets. How's that? Do you remember that? Do you remember the days when Chelsea were bought for £1? Fucking dog shit club. Fuck off. Come on, boys. 14 times. Let's have it.
Kris, my first note for the game. I'm gonna come to you before you do like an episode something like that. Kris, we were wearing red socks.
I know. All this time, I did tell you. I've been saying for months, years, we shouldn't have too much white in our kit. It's too Spursy. Red socks out. Bosh. There you go. That's what happens.
Did you see Danny Ceballos' socks? Halfway up the shin. Halfway up the shin. No higher. No higher. Halfway up the shin. That's what I want from all of my midfielders.
Repping the Grealish.
Mm-hmm. I prefer the tacos in the first 5 minutes, but never mind.
Yeah.
Josh, let's go straight to lineups. I genuinely thought that was the only lineup he could go with.
Yeah, it's the lineup that beats City. And I mean, what more do you want from that, to be honest? We could talk about the nuances of who we'd prefer, where, and, if I thought, to be honest, Kolasinac might have started because how much Arteta's called about having, left-footed players in defence, and we utilised Tierney up the wing. But No, we saw, the lineup I think most of us expected if we're pulling together our strongest 11.
Well, it's one of those. Sorry, I forgot to mention. Shout out to the Colts on as well. There's a message on the screen. He knows why. Thoughts are with you, pal. Kris, game kicks off. Oh my god. Xhaka robbed early doors. He has to make a save. Rudiger and Zuma are like clamps on Lacazette, aren't they? You know, they you can tell that he's the pivot man for our attacks, and you can tell they're on him straight away, wasn't it?
Quick disclaimer, chat. If you're gonna want tactical insight and nicely reserved and calm, composed judgment, he ain't coming from me today. Zuma, Rudiger. The only thing I was waiting for whenever they got the ball was to start playing. Honestly, no, I take your point. You know, they were hunting in packs, and the best part about the fact that Chelsea got in front and they were giving it all that was they started so strong, and they were lauding on the BBC. I refused to watch BT. I was watching on the BBC, and they were lauding the pressing game and how good Chelsea centre backs were, and they were pushing up and they were cramping the space, like you say. They were denying Lacazette the ability to turn. They were closing down Aubameyang. And then it all went wrong, didn't it? Because they ran out of steam, didn't they? And all their players died. It was funny. But yeah, I mean, their game plan was fantastic if and only if you can have that for a whole 90 minutes. And they couldn't. And they haven't been able to defend. And this, I'll get off my soapbox in a second, but I know Josh is with me on this. This rhetoric that Frank Lampard has improved Chelsea is a load of rubbish. Honestly, they are still bog average. They still can't defend. And yeah, I mean, it was that game plan was fantastic for 15 minutes, and then for 20 minutes, and then we got to the water break. So I know we'll come to that, but yeah, I was very pleased at how we responded to the early setback of being closed down quite heavily.
Sorry, yeah. I looked like I was going to say something, and then I was like, maybe I should let you go back to it. But to be honest, I could have saved you, Jace, and gone into a lovely conversation. But I was like, Jace looks like he's going to say something.
Yeah. Tell me about it. But on 5 minutes, Josh, I would defend him. I'm not being defended. Oh my god! I could take a baseball bat to half a dozen of them. But Ceballos was particularly... He really offended me in this. Pulisic he's direct. He cuts in when they're not going wide. They must have seen the City game, but how well we dealt with the wide threat. And they were just looking to cut in from the start, weren't they? And unfortunately, yes, it's good play from Chelsea, but... this will be, I can imagine next season's training sessions opening up with that video.
Yeah, I think I agree with you, Ceballos. He should be tracking the Pulisic run. I would also say, though, that touch from Giroud, nobody can defend that. Because what centre-back or what defender are you telling at any level of football to be not goal side of their striker? And Giroud's just done what we've seen him done for years for us. And got there, no goal side of the defender and just played a back pass and Pulisic straight in. And yeah, on there it should be the defense or the midfield should be tracking that run from Pulisic. But it's the other problem of when you've got a back three, a midfielder's more likely to let the defense deal with it and go, You've got more guys in front of the ball than I've got to track it. That's why we've got an extra man in the middle. You're the one to sweep and do that kind of job. So I kind of see it, but yeah, sloppy generally. And as Rob Holding said in his post-match interview, they caught us cold, to be fair.
Yeah.
I mean, it's strange that we always get caught.
Credit. Yeah. You've got to give them credit.
Yeah, I've got to give... I think I'm annoyed about the Ceballos thing, but I can't think of any school of defending that teaches you how to deal with that Giroud touch. Because everything in the schoolboy rulebook goes past him, and Giroud's got a shot in goal. I think, yeah.
And my God, did he come back stronger and all?
This is the thing, isn't it? And we're going to come on to that in a bit, Kris. But straight after the goal, we looked down. Okay, Chelsea kept on with cutting inside. Mount and Pulisic looked particularly dangerous. They were running at us with pace. And Emery makes a great save from Pulisic. We couldn't really handle them for the first 10 minutes, could we?
No, I mean, like you say, they started well, but I just felt like we definitely started slowly. I mean, it looked like we were expecting them to sit and have a lot of possession, and obviously they came at us with a lot of pace. I think we were caught cold by the fact that they weren't just playing direct to Giroud, because I think that's kind of what we expected that they would probably do with that lineup, and then sort of play up to the big man and play off him almost, which was ironically kind of what we did. I do feel that we were almost a bit shell shocked by the goal. And what was absolutely crucial, taking off my Arsenal hat literally for 1 second before it goes back on, the one thing we had to do was not concede the second goal. We had to just take stock. And we did ride our luck for sort of 5 to 10 minutes, but we didn't, other than that Martinez save, they sort of went down those wings, or down Pulisic's side a couple of times, like you say, Mount side as well. But it was a tactical switch. As soon as we got to grips with it, they didn't trouble us at all. But it was that first sort of 10, 15 minutes, like you say, their tails were up. If they'd have got the second goal, I think we would have been in trouble. The good thing I liked about us as well is that although we were pinned back after the goal, and we were pinned back, we did start to put a few challenges in. We did start to restrict them a little bit. That there was a little bit more fire in the belly. 2 or 3 minutes, we did, like you say, we did look a little bit sorry for ourselves, and it was like, oh God, we didn't expect that. But once we got to grips with it, put a few challenges in, and then obviously the water break, everything changed. So I was quite pleased with the reaction once we'd settled, and like Arteta said a number of times, this is a work in progress. We still need to learn that to how to manage games, and we need to learn to start games quicker, because we have been caught cold a few times since the restart.
Absolutely agree. I've got to be honest with you. I mean, the only relief we seemed to be getting at the time, Josh, was down the left-hand side, and AMN was looking particularly dangerous, wasn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. I think what helped him a lot was the fact he was on Arteta's side as well, because that's constantly what you could hear with those instructions going out to Ainsley to make that run, and for Tierney to look for that ball over the top, or Luiz to look for that ball into him. And yeah, he had the whole back line on toast.
I'll expand on that, because I think it's a bit more than that. I think you could see there's an understanding with Aubameyang. And I
completely disagree with that. Bearing in mind, there's at least a couple of opportunities where you see Maitland-Niles go down the wing, and where's Aubameyang? He's not read it. He's not read that down the line. So I was a bit, when you see Maitland-Niles' crosses, there wasn't many people in the box. Aubameyang was rarely getting in there in those early stages. Lacazette might be there. Pepe was getting there. But Aubameyang, no. Perhaps it's because it's down the same side as him for that time. Yeah. But there wasn't that wasn't slipping him in. I don't know if AMN's not got that creativity streak to lay in a striker like that, but
it wasn't perfect. But I've got to be honest, it was a lot better on the right-hand side. And I think Tierney's out ball had a lot to do with that as well. His accuracy as opposed to Holding's, he was a lot more aggressive in his passing, wasn't he?
Oh yeah, Tierney's a lot better on the ball than Rob Holding, and I think we could say that quite equivocally that is the case, and that's probably why we saw better passes out from them, to be honest, and why we've seen Tierney play there instead of Kolasinac.
The way I looked at the thing with Ainsley, Jace, was it was almost like I was absolutely, he was defending so well, and then he was breaking at speed down the wing, and I was like, I'm so pleased that he's been picked over Saka in this particular game. And then as soon as he got past his man on the left, I was like, oh, I wish he was Saka. If you could combine the two players, you'd have the ultimate bombing on fullback. But that said, I think normally, and probably next season, that's going to be Tierney. So you'll have the end product as well as the work rate up and down the wing. So yeah, no complaints, but it was just that end product that you just wanted that little bit more, apart from that early cross, obviously.
I think the big issue between between AMN and Aubameyang is, AMN's pretty much right-footed, isn't he? He's all right foot. He is, he can use his left, but he's not strong on it. And I think there may be where the problem comes in. But when you look at how many times they've played together, I think it's pretty decent, the partnership they've struck up. They stretch the defence, And, they made them think every single time. Kris, one thing I wanted to speak to you about was that first 20 minutes, our press was just really poor, and it got summed up. There was one moment just before the drinks break where you had Xhaka, Auba, and Laka pressing, I think it was Rudiger, at one point, and there was no unity, there was no cohesion with them, and they dropped off on their concentration, and Chelsea played it really easily. That was frustrating, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think the main thing I would say with that is initially Chelsea outthought us. I think Chelsea out-tacticked us for that first period of time, which and I'm not going to give any credit to Lampard at all because fuck him. But they only got that first period under their belts. That was when they were out-tacticked us, and in a weird way, I kind of see that as a positive from Arteta, because the one thing that Emery struggled with, and at times even Arsene Wenger struggled with, particularly in the latter days, was in-game management, the ability to change a game. And as much as I don't particularly want to give the bold fraud any credit, I think he's learnt that from him, Arteta. I think he's learnt that from Pep in terms of the fact that if you look at a Pep Guardiola style team, he will make instant changes if something isn't working, whether it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. It's not always personnel and substitutes, but it's often just little tactical switches, changes of formation. And something that I've noticed that Arteta has started to do is not necessarily change the formation in-game, but he's changed the responsibilities or the roles of the players in game. So if a certain player is pressing high and it's not working, he'll have a word in his ear and say, right, I still want you to press, but I want you to press to this point, and then I want you to sit off, and you let the other player come across, you take up the press, then you come in. And I think that's what you saw at that drinks break, because like you say, the pressing game, we were doing it, but we weren't doing it well enough, and we weren't doing it cohesively until we got to that first stoppage.
Agreed. Josh, I think it's testament, just building on what Kris has said there, it's testament to this team that Arteta is able to give complex information across. They're so well drilled. Once he's given the information, they know exactly what their roles are. And if you look back at 15 months ago at the Europa Cup final, that wasn't the case. I think, Arteta's come in for some scrutiny recently. I think it's a great credit to him, the way these guys have reacted.
Yeah, I think the how powerful that first drinks break was, not only for the kind of ability for Arteta to get in, but I thought it was one of the things that whilst Chelsea was smashing us in that first half, it was a case of just get to the drinks break at 1-0, get to the drinks break at 1-0, and we knew it would be fine from there. It's a bit like a kind of, lower league team kind of thinking, get to half time at 0-0 and then go from there, or get to 70 minutes at 0-0 and you go for the break. We're at the same kind of thing, but I don't. I was just a bit kind of perturbed about how can Arteta turn it at that 25-minute point, but our players couldn't do anything really as soon as they got on the pitch, because we've got intelligent players on the field.
Yeah,
but how could they not find that change in that instance by themselves and had to get to the drinks break? Because we're not going to have the crutch of a drinks break probably next season, and that's one of the worries. Until then, I don't care because we won the game, but that is something to take into next season, is that how the team gets hit early, and in theory Arteta next season won't be able to fix that until 45 minutes in, when we could be 2 or 3-0 down. He's
going to need really strong communication lines from sideline in, and I'm not sure that's going to work. I don't really see, great credit to Xhaka and Ceballos today, but I don't really see them as leaders in the midfield, being able to take on that information and make things work. But we'll have to wait and see. Kris, Pepe has a goal disallowed. AMN is offside. Frustrating, but within 2 minutes, long ball. I can't remember who played the long ball. Was it AMN or was it Tierney? But
Tierney, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, but Auba's got Azpilicueta on toast. He is struggling all the way, okay? Hand goes on him straight outside, when he's lost the man. He carries that inside the box, brings him down. There's no challenge for the ball whatsoever. Why is it not a fucking red? Why?
Well, firstly, what a finish from Pepe, by the way. Shame that got chalked off.
It would have been a worldie.
It really would have. Look, personally, by the letter of the law, you can read it two different ways. By the letter of the law, there's this whole double jeopardy rule, which, if you read it a certain way, suggests that if it's not an intentional foul, then he shouldn't be sent off. But it clearly is an intentional foul. There is the argument again that Rudiger is coming across and could stop him. It's one of those. I think
he's been sent off twice this season.
Yeah, that's the thing. If it had been our end, would we have felt the same way? I genuinely don't know. I think.
Oh, hold up. Stop. Sorry. Kyle Boss. Hello, Kyle.
Hi, Kyle. How you doing, Kyle?
Hello,
How you doing, Kyle? All the best, mate. All the best.
Right. How are you feeling, Kyle?
We'll mail you the tears that we've collected from Frank Lampard, along with the wooden spoon that you can put on Christian Pulisic's hamstring, Kyle. All the best, my love.
Hi. We're going to be bathing in Frank Lampard's tears later, mate. And why don't we chuck you out of this of this thing?
I think we should leave him in, Jace, just so we can hear everything.
Yeah.
Welcome to the party, Kyle. Yeah. Welcome to the party.
Bring them all. I mean, Chelsea must have what, 7 fans these days? Bring them all in. Bring all of them in, honestly. In fact, I think Chelsea have got less fans than Spurs have got trophies these days. So bring them all in. Bring them all in. Absolutely.
Hey, Kyle, hugs and kisses, mate. Hugs and kisses. I feel your pain, but tough shit. Shit.
I'll take Gojira 2006 out of that. Fair play. He's given us some credit, so I'll take him. He can come in. He's fine. The rest of them, yeah. But no. Just on our I'm on form tonight, boys. But just on our thing there about the red card. Yeah, I do get your point. I think it was one of those that by the letter of the law, you could interpret it both ways. And I think if I'm, again, slightly sort of taking the Arsenal hat off, we probably got a decision later in the game which maybe evened that up a little bit. But yeah, I can see why you would have called for a red. To be perfectly honest with you, Jace, with my hoop going 50p, 5p at intermittent schedules while the ball's on the spot, I was more concerned about that penalty hitting the net than anything else, rather than the card at that particular point in time.
Kyle Boss has come back, and Kyle Boss says, "I can't take nothing from the Aubameyang goal, but that was not a red card. It was also handball outside the box. I can't say we were good today. We were shite, but I felt like the ref was on your side." Kyle, I got to be fair. Martinez was well outside the box. I can't believe he got
He was, but the ball wasn't.
That was a rule that I didn't realise was the case.
I didn't either. I had to look that up. Yeah, if your body's outside, it doesn't matter as long as your hands are inside.
But Kovacic got away with one earlier on, mate. So I'm sorry. He got away with a massive one earlier on, so he should have been sent off.
Got away with 6 fouls. Yeah, it was like watching that. It's like watching that bright. It's like watching Basuma again.
Yeah, Azpilicueta deserved a red card straight. So sorry, pal, but welcome to the chat box. Enjoy with the boys; they're all right. I agree with you, Kris, regarding the penalty, because my backside was going 10 to the dozen. Okay, I was not confident, but what a finish from Aubameyang.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those. He's one of those players that you rarely think he's going to miss. I know he has missed 1 or 2 in the past, but he looked confident. He's a man on form. It was a delightful penalty, to be fair. And Caballero's got a pretty decent record at saving penalties, from my knowledge. I vaguely remember him having a decent game in the FA Cup a few years ago, and I think he saved a few. So, yeah, he's a decent keeper when it comes to pens. And that was quite a big choice, by the way, for Lampard to play him ahead of David De Gea's knockoff replacement, and that's saying something. 50-odd million, by the way, good business that. 70 million. Sorry, yeah, that's right.
Kepa's the most expensive keeper of all time.
Imagine that when he ends up at Granada next season. It's going to be amazing, isn't it? But Yeah. So no, the pen was quality.
You know, on the TV.
you just know it. But yeah, the pen was quality, and the you talk about like your bum going 50p 5p. You know when dogs do that thing where they sort of put their paws and drag their ass along the floor. That was the sort of celebration I was doing as I wiped myself clean after the penalty across the living room floor. It's great fun.
You're not alone there, pal. In the chat box, we have Vivian Middle. Viv, we've already shouted at your dad today. On behalf of us all, we miss him. We miss him terribly, and we know how much today would have meant to him, and how he'd have just wallowed in this and enjoyed it, and he'd have been going bananas. I kept on looking at our WhatsApp group, and it would have been constantly Steve Whittle recording. What the fuck's going on there? It would have been things. So we feel your pain today, Vivian, and we love you, and we miss your dad, and we hope all is well. Sorry, guys, that's important to us as a group. Josh, on to you. Talk about the penalty and talk about the Alba finish, because let's just enjoy this today.
Yeah, to be honest, when Kris said, Aubameyang doesn't miss many important penalties, I was just thinking back to last season and Spurs and then missing that one. I was like, I should have more faith in a 23-goal a season striker to score from the penalty spot. But I was somewhere in the middle. But yeah, when he put that in, sent Caballero the wrong way. I mean, to be honest, I think Caballero was halfway off to collect his pension, to be honest, the way he went for it. And yeah, straight into the bottom corner, and we know the same routine. Run over to the corner, do his little flip, and yeah, just everybody was loving it. All 6 people in the stands. You could hear Ian Wright on the BBC just shouting at from the position in the gantry. But yeah, it was great to get back to 1-1, because I think we kind of deserved it, to be honest, the way we got it back into it. And yeah, absolutely.
I got to be honest with you. Look, it went in, and I couldn't believe the calmness and the he was steely-eyed, wasn't he? It was an absolute banger. And yes, I don't really want to concentrate on the stands, but it's bizarre. It's so bizarre watching it, and it's horrible because you go back from to the 2017 Cup final. Red one side, blue the other. The ups and downs, the absolute drama of the game, and it sadly was missing today. But there you go.
We should say, Jace, there is one problem that we'll find if next season's FA Cup final is behind closed doors again. We're in it, because there won't be enough space across the back for us to put all of our FA Cup trophies, the number of years across the stands, because, there was only 13 blocks given to us. So next season, go on FA, give us an extra block.
I tell you what, okay, I just can't. I can't tell you how happy I am after such a shit season, after the roller coaster of what this has been, to have this. Just magic.
Yeah, I said on the last podcast that, to be honest, if we'd won, and we did win, I'd give this season 10 out of 10, to be honest. And yeah, I think you ask anyone now, and we're probably going to say, yeah, 10.
Yeah, at this moment in time, yes. Okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Or not, yes.
It's taken 8 months for Arteta to get more trophies than Mauricio Pochettino. 8 months.
Yeah,
Josh, your phone just went. It was a Spurs fan asking you what it's like to win a trophy.
It is. It's my mum. She's a Spurs fan.
There you go.
Chris, we then see Quetta pull a hammy. I don't like seeing players go down injured.
Oh, I loved it. Inject it into my veins.
I've got to be honest with you. After the shitty business last season, fuck them. Okay, I'm sorry. Chelsea fans in the box, I'm sorry, okay? But I'm a petty fucking Welshman. I know. Fuck them. I know. How happy were you when that happened?
I was, and it's not like, I honestly don't give a toss if anyone goes, oh, you don't like to see that. Oh, you don't like to see. No, you don't like to see that when it's not your club. You don't like to see that when it's your player. When it's against you and it's a key player, because let's not forget he's their captain. I don't think he's like a world class. He's not likely to be a guy who's going to win them the game. But he was very key to that defense. He's very key to that organization. He's very key to everything that they do as a back three. And he marshals that back line, particularly when you've got the other two clowns they had back there. So no, I thought it was a key moment in the game. It was also really key moment when they lost Captain America as well. I sort of felt for him a little bit just because of how painful that looked. I've done that and it does fucking hurt. But no, it was a key player to go off, Azpilicueta, better known as Dave.
I don't like giving him credit, but him and Alonso going up and down the flanks, excellent. I know he's playing the back three today.
Yes, and you've got to be careful when Alonso's going at pace, as we well know.
No, let's not go there.
So just move quickly on from that one. Have we mentioned David Luiz's elbow into a certain lamppost?
I'm sorry.
But to be honest, it's a big thing because they never played that ball up to Giroud again, did they?
No, they didn't.
No. Point.
Yeah, they never played that long ball again, and I think that was a huge moment for us. I mean, we're talking about shithousing, and that's good kind.
Somebody said on another pod, and that's a really good point, Josh. I think it was Andrew was talking about it on their pod, and they were saying that the one thing I don't get me wrong, even to this day, even now, I still love Olivier Giroud. I still think he should be an Arsenal player. I love him to bits, but he was always one of those players that if you got in amongst him, the finger wag of doom would come out. He'd roll around, and he wouldn't like games where he was roughed up. And it's true. As soon as David Luiz hit him once, they didn't go near him. He didn't have his best game once we went through the back of him once, and it was a bit tame as well. Really.
He'd been very good up until then as well, but he really milked that too much. And as I say, he wasn't half as effective afterwards, was he?
No, he wasn't. No.
I wasn't calling for a card or anything on David Luiz. I wanted to point out the massive turning point in the game.
Yeah, because down here, you fucking nonce Ollie. Is my note, okay?
Oh, that must be what it was.
Yeah, that's the note, okay? Josh, after this point, we've got all the possession because we've been under the cosh, okay? But then we've got all the possession, we've got all the territory. But we can't make it work. Anderson replaced Azpilicueta, and Anderson's a decent player. Got a lot of time for Anderson, but he's still young, coming up. But were you wondering, was this going to be another one of those games? Look, unless we're going to grab a quick goal before half time, we're going to pay for it afterwards.
No, to be honest, I was worse after we scored the second than we were at 1-1. I was completely relaxed about it because we'd kind of seen us then click. The worst thing for us was when halftime came, to be honest, because we were so high on the ascendancy at that point that I thought Chelsea would get a chance to regroup and perhaps come back at us at the beginning of the second half. But I'd also flip it with the same side. I was happy for us to get to a drinks break because as soon as these boys come in and listen to Arteta, they seem to be a completely revitalised team and completely galvanised about the whole thing. I think the role of the players throughout that spine that have won this before as well. We were talking about Rob Holding, Bellerin, Xhaka. They know how to play out this game as well, especially in a final. They were all on the field for the 2-1 against Chelsea in 2017.
Yeah.
So I think they knew how to do this. They knew how to grind it out in a final.
I think as well, last season's Europa Cup final will still lay pretty heavy on a lot of these guys' shoulders. We were humiliated last season, and I think payback's a bitch, and it's lovely to see. But Kris, again, you saw Pepe shining at times. He's like a jack in the box, wasn't he? He could do nothing for 5-10 minutes, but come up. He won a few free kicks where he was outstanding.
Yeah, he's a thoroughbred. He's a racehorse. I thought him and Lacazette's work rate today was outstanding. It took Laka sort of 10, 15 minutes to get into the game. He did seem a bit like he hadn't adjusted to the pace, but once they clicked, him and Pepe were workhorses in the sort of wide and central areas. Laka was sort of dropping deep as this kind of false 10, I'm going to call it, that he's been playing recently. And Pepe was always a good out ball for us. And it was a real shame that goal got chalked off, because that would have been one of the great big cup goals. Yeah, it's fantastic. And the one thing I'll say, and don't worry, chat. I shall be clanging my bell of "I told you so" about another player later on. So look forward to that, everyone. But with Pepe, it will take time. It's taken him a season to adjust. We haven't seen anywhere near the player that we bought just yet. We've seen glimpses of it. We've seen flashes of it. We've seen certain performances. The goal at West Ham, for example. Trust me. We'll look back probably in 18 months and go, 72 million quid was a bargain, honestly, because there's signs that things are just starting to work. And the one thing that he's going to need is our style to change slightly. And I think in recent weeks, where our style has changed a bit more to a bit of a counter-attacking defensive team that springs teams quickly on the transition, because we played better teams, that's when you've got the best out of him, because that's the sort of player that he is. He will come good. But the one thing that you always look for in any player, whether they're worth 10 quid or 72 million pound, is work rate and desire and commitment and showing for the ball. And if it doesn't work out, trying again. He's got to work on things. He's not the finished article. There's a lot that he's got to polish, but he looks like a player who's settling. And to me, he looks like a sort of where Robert Pires was at the end of that first season. He's just starting to settle.
Sorry. Joe, I'm done.
If I speak about the foul by Jorginho, I will be in trouble. Remember that? Remember that those months ago? Remember that?
Yeah, straight ahead, but go, dry your eyes, mate.
Jace, have you got any tequila? Because IZJ as well in the chat is bringing the salt.
I know.
Arsenal were by far the worst team. If Chelsea had Willian, Pulisic, Azpilicueta, Kante, and Kovacic, they would have won easily.
And if my uncle, if my auntie had bollocks, she'd be my uncle, mate. Joggy on, love. Joggy on to the bus stop.
Boys,
being a bigger club.
Hey, Chelsea fans, leave us a like. Tappy. Tap a like button.
So many dislikes today. It's going to be rejected.
Oh, boys, this is better. This is better than 2017.
This is
better than 2017. Just to make it worse for you Chelsea fans, Josh Ceballos bought the yellow for Mason Mount, didn't he? A really clever leaving his foot in there just before half time. And Mount. Oh, I tell you what, have you seen that? He's still reeling in.
Yeah, to be honest, this is one's for the Chelsea fans. I remember a certain Didier Drogba was very inept at doing something like that in the penalty box against Arsenal, leaving his foot in behind somebody. So it's just nice to see. You know what? After years and years of us being mugged over by various different teams with some snide, play, our two midfielders collectively got themselves a couple of yellow cards for your midfielders, and one of them was walking, and Mason Mount was going. If he didn't get taken off, I was absolutely sure he was going to leave something in on him.
Do you know what? Okay, I just so enjoyed his face when he got there. Okay, he'd been done. Okay, I had him on toast at that point. It was so nice. I just fucking loving it. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, we just won a cup. We've had the worst season ever, and we've just won a cup. I'm so happy, and so many bitter people in this chat box. Boys, just leave us a like and thank you very much. Listen to the goodness.
It's nice to have someone bitter in the chat that isn't an Arsenal fan on one of these shows. Exactly.
I tell you what, that's the first half, guys. Shout out to Pepe, to be fair. He was dangerous. I thought, he won a couple of free kicks really, really well. Smart play. It's not been an easy season for him, but his goal and assist return has been excellent. What we need now is for him to change his way of playing to fit into our system. And I'm sure he and Arteta will work on that, and it'll come around. Starts at the end of the first half. Chelsea 55% possession, tells you about their early dominance. Tells you that we've rode that out quite well, to be fair. Shots 7 to us, 4 to them. On target 2 to us, 3 to them. Corners 4-1 to us. With that real piece late in the second half of dominance paid off. But 9 fouls to Chelsea, none to us. That was telling, I thought. I thought that was really, really telling. That was the end of the first half. Now, people. Nearly 600. Oh, I know your ends and 7, am I right? London is blue. Somebody, look at him. Look at him. London is blue. He's typing in his little box. London is blue. Fuck off. Spam my fucking box. The rest of the Chelsea boys are all right. But you are out, mate. Sorry about that. Let's get back to it. These 600 of you watching right now, we've only got 118 likes. Come on. Grow up and tap the like button, for crying out loud. Tappy. Let's get going, okay? It's just, it's cup fucking final day. We just smashed the Chavs, and I'm absolutely over the moon. I'm over the fucking moon. I can't tell you how happy I am, okay? Because it's the best feeling ever. So 200 likes, please. Tappy. Let's get fucking going. Oh, Christopher. Second half kicks off. Chelsea come out there after it, aren't they? Pulisic breaks. Gets a shot off just wide, but he pulled his hammy at the same time. And to be fair to the boy, loads of respect to him. He pulls his hamstring before he gets the shot off. He still gets the shot off. I'll respect that forever.
Yeah, that's commitment. Because that bloody hurts, by the way. It's like a gunshot when your hammy goes at that particular speed. And that will probably, in a way, I guess tonight he'll probably sit there and think, oh, why didn't I just pull up? Because that will probably mean an extra month. I think it looked very Mustafi to me. Mustafi's had to have surgery on his, and I would imagine Pulisic will have to have the same, because that was a tear, judging by the way he pulled up. But yeah, I mean, it fair play to him. He got the shot away, and to be fair, I think had his hammy have not gone at that particular point, he probably would have got that shot on target, and it could have been a very different game. The second half as well, it was almost like we didn't want the first half to come, because the end of the first half to come, because we were well on top. And we started okay second half, don't get me wrong, but I did feel like Chelsea had a little bit of a second wind, and I was a little concerned that if they scored again, would we have enough to rouse ourselves further? Once, obviously, the second half wound on, we took full control of it. But yeah, I mean, fair play to Pulisic. All jokes aside, watched a lot of him at Dortmund. The kid's very talented, very, very talented. And it's a blow for him. But ultimately, his hammy going bang was a bonus to us.
I heard Simon Collins was in the... I saw Simon Collins was in the stands, and apparently had a sniper. Just little ping.
Tell you what, man, Simon Collins is doing the pre-match video for Even Standard. His makeup person has got his spot on. Collins is looking delightful. Scoop Collins was looking the part. I tell you what, he's a good-looking boy. He had it on toast today. But with Mount on the yellow, Pulisic off, that's two of their substitute windows gone, and probably the biggest threat off the park. It gave us a bit of breathing space, didn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we were kind of just a bit like, okay. I think just as fans, to be honest, I know there weren't any in the stadium, but just at home, I was kind of feeling a little bit relieved that we were like, right, Pulisic is off. This is, if they're going to have to do something, it's going to be big to get past us now. Or at least we know, well, we're confident of our own firepower, to be honest, but even more so now that we were absolutely, we were great. for that point forward. We just didn't need to do anything. We could just run the legs out of them. That's what we did.
I tell you what, we got him.
There's a couple of them in there, isn't there?
Which one in there now?
Breeding in there. Are they breeding?
I don't know. I tell you what, Caleb, as Luke Howard says, I think we all need to get some fish and chips. There's a lot of salt in this box.
There is.
A lot of salt. Oh, look.
Red and pink army. Oh, God, yeah.
This one in there.
Wow. Imagine supporting Man United and getting wound up that Arsenal win games. Oh, wait. Sorry. No, there's a guy on Twitter who makes a living out of it, isn't there? I wonder how in his silly little studio.
I tell you what, this is about E3 Boss 2003 will get splashed in the head. You're a fucking moron. You're a fucking moron with that name.
I think we'll actually have Jason dropped on his head. I think that's what actually happened at birth, potentially.
I think so. I tell you, your mum will be ashamed of you doing this. Your mum, when I send this to your mum, okay, she's going to look at you and say, E3 Boss 2003, around your head. You're acting like a bitch. Grow up.
We've reached that point where we're doing the mum jokes early. We've got
just press the like button and move on. Move on, son. Move on. I've enjoyed this so much. I tell you what. There's somebody in Russian in there now. I have no idea what he's saying. I don't really care.
It says Arsenal then champ, so I can only mean it's positive.
Yes.
Hey.
I don't know any more of the Cyrillic alphabet, but that seemed pretty good.
Good man. You're a good man. We love you. We love you. Oh, Jensen Berry. No, Champions League for the Arsenal. Oh, no, Jensen. Oh, no. Boo, boo. Oh, we don't care. We got a trophy in the cabinet. I'm sorry. Kris. Well, you could do it. I do that to my niece, Sakina. She's 3. She gets so wound up by it. But Chelsea are still on top at this point, okay? They're not as dangerous as they were. We get a couple of counters. We see one where Xhaka just fires over. It was quite pointless for him. Pedro's on. Pedro and Mount are looking dangerous. But Luiz is looking good.
Yeah, I thought he did well. Oh, sorry, Josh. Was that
I
you
don't
for
know.
me?
Just to you, then back across to Josh.
All right, I'll pass it to Josh after. I'll be brief. I thought David Luiz was good today. The thing I liked about Luiz's performance is again at the start of the game he looked a little bit casual for me. He did look a little bit just the way he was passing the ball, sort of like that elongated stride after the pass, and just looked a little bit sort of too composed. And I was like thinking, oh God, are we going to get the ultra laid back David Luiz? But he grew into the game. We mentioned the shove on Giroud, which sort of took him kind of out of the game. I thought he marshalled that back four quite well. His positioning was very good. I also wondered if the injury was an injury or not, and it was only really the substitution that made me think, well, maybe he took a bit of a knock. But I did think he, when the physio came on, I could sort of lip read, and he was just, I think he said the word rest, and I thought, you've got him there, haven't you? But I thought he did very, very well, and for all his faults, and believe me, there are many. If there is a lot of this sort of dressing room thing, and in fairness, during his time at PSG, they said the same there. He was very, very big character in the dressing room. I don't know about his time at Chelsea because they're a tiny club and I don't really care about them. But during his time there, they spoke very highly of him. He is obviously a leader. He does lead by example. And even if he comes in next season and plays 15 games for us, that's important in terms of experience. And we were worried about Rob Holding in this game coming into it. I thought him and Luiz with Tierney either side, yes, there was a few minor moments, but overall, I thought they performed really well. What did you think, Josh?
Yeah, I thought David Luiz was great in that game. One interesting fact I didn't realise until halfway through, and it came up in commentary, was that David Luiz had never won an FA Cup on the field. The ones he'd got were he was injured in the stands or just not played in those games. And obviously we know what happened in 2017 because he was on the other side when we smashed them 2-1. Just a reminder to Chelsea fans, you lost another FA Cup final 3 years ago as well to us. Get in the sea. Back to you, Jace.
Oh, I'm enjoying this so much. I'm sorry, guys. Oh, do you know what? Just a happy. Oh, I tell you what, Jensen Barney's really chucking the salt about today, guys. I tell you.
If you're looking for like an Arsenal, an official Arsenal summing up the cup final and a professional, well-articulated, well-thought-out podcast, this is probably not the one. Oh, look at that one.
Yeah, there's a new user.
That one. At Bergkamp Wonderland, all of you are getting stabbed. Mate,
by what?
You come to Cardiff today and try it. Fucking try it. Seriously, try it. Anytime.
I will get you stabbed. Careful, Jace, you're riling him now. Come on.
Oh, I tell you what. Bring it on, you little slag. Your fucking mum is going to call you in for tea soon. Don't be a wanker. You're going to go now, fella. But anytime you fancy it, you are welcome to fucking try it, bitch.
He's going to go and make another account now. So he'll be back in about...
I can't wait for the next one. I can't wait for the next one. I'm sorry. Listeners, if you're listening to another platform, I'm so sorry. This is so much fun, okay? The chat box is alive, okay? There's a lot of decent Chelsea fans in here. Okay, there's a lot of decent Chelsea fans in here. But there's a couple of scumners.
Here's the rails here, and we're over here somewhere. Just over here.
Yeah. If somebody has made it this far in the podcast, 51 minutes in, I would say turn off now. There's no point. If you've managed to get it this far, congratulations. But there's not going to be anything insightful you'll get here. Maybe try something like the podcast later in the week when we might calm down. But right now, nah. Sorry, guys. No. This is going to be as incoherent as the Tuesday Club will be when they release their show.
And we're not even drinking. That's the best bit.
Oh, yeah. Two of us are sober.
First bottle of beer. It's ridiculous, isn't it?
You have one bottle of beer, me and Josh don't drink. I mean, Christ, what is this?
Oh, I do drink. I just haven't drunk. I can't bear to drink and watch Arsenal.
We're talking about I can't drink. We then see Hector Bellerin had a bit of stick today. I kind of didn't get it. Him and Pepe still work. They haven't clicked yet. Okay, they just haven't. But he drives forward with the ball, Josh. He creates havoc in that Chelsea defence. The ball finds Aubameyang and Auba. Ooh, fucking la la!
Yeah, so good. The run from Hector, that's great. That is the Hector that we kind of missed, haven't we, for, 12, 24 months since that injury. We haven't seen him drive forward like that in so long. And that was just... Chelsea didn't know what to do because it was a runner coming from midfield that we haven't seen in about a season from Arsenal. And just tore through them with his pace, knocked it past them. Helped that he then went and took out Christensen midway through. So took a man out for them. And just the Aubameyang finish was just, what's the word I want to use? Just mercurial. Just absolutely outrageous. And just as he said in his post-match again, Zuma knew he was right-footed and he knows Zuma quite well. So he decided to take it on his left.
It didn't matter what side of the ball, he was just going to finish that. Kris, there's a lot of speculation about Auba's future. But what a way to end the season. What a way.
Yeah, I mean... The man's class. The man is a quality centre forward. The thing that I really like about
right.
Oh, we got another one.
I got another one. I got to be honest, guys. I don't mind people being pricks, but when you're a racist prick,
that one's got to go.
Need to fuck off.
Yeah, that one's got to
really
go.
Need to fuck off. And if you ever want to come to Cardiff, just contact me. I'll fucking send you my address, mate.
Bye. Back to football. Yes. So he's a class act. The thing I really like about him is he's very much like Wrighty was back in the day. He plays with a smile on his face. He's one of those centre forwards that I think even the opposition find difficult to dislike because he just enjoys the game and he does play with a smile and he plays with a swagger. And, with that comes a big personality. Is off the pitch stuff. Some people were not particularly keen on him being involved with a certain other podcast, which will not be named. But, at the end of the day, you get that with a big personality. We got that with Wrighty. We got that with Thierry. You're going to get that little bit of extra spice on and off the pitch. But in terms of on the pitch, and when it comes down to it, let's not forget this is a man who's playing out of position. This is a man who's been asked to do a job by the coach, who's bought into the ideas, who's bought into the project. I do wonder how much of the fact that his best mate is basically playing his position has helped that. I'm not going to lie. But he's got on with it. And he's played with different players in different positions, in different setups. He works very, very hard. You'll often see him tracking back down that left-hand side. He's been really good with the younger players that he's brought through. If you sort of picked out a player in that team, said who would be your captain, I must admit when he got given the captaincy, I did kind of roll my eyes a bit and go, don't know about that. Based upon his time at Dortmund and that, I wasn't sure. But you can't fault the guy. He stepped up, and he stepped up at a time we really needed him, and we really needed his goals. And yes, occasionally there are certain games he goes missing in. Well, newsflash, the best strikers in the world go missing in certain games. It happens. Thierry went missing in the final. It does happen. But overall, when you look back at the season, let's not forget one of our worst seasons in many years. And yet we've taken a trophy from it. And he's led from the front. He's led by example. And that goal was sublime. The finish was so good, so clever in an instant to take it that way. And in terms of his contract, I think what he did after the game was exactly what he should do. He is in a position where whether any of us three or any Arsenal fans like it or not, he's 30, 31 now. This is his last big contract, his last big payday. He's going to negotiate his ass off. And if it's 300 grand a week he wants, he's earned it. Are we willing to pay it? That's not a decision for Arteta. That's a decision for the guys upstairs. Would I pay it? Yeah, absolutely. Because he guarantees you goals. And that's where some clubs around Europe will have a look at him. But his response was exactly right. Let's not talk about it today. Let's enjoy the trophy. Arteta sounded confident. Whether that's just the front, who knows? But I think it's it doesn't feel like Van Persie or Henry or other players that we've seen going in the past. It feels to me like he's very keen to stay, but a lot of things have got to be worked out first, which hopefully will be done fairly soon.
I think the other thing that really helps. Sorry.
Joe Anton. I don't mind having a bit of fun in here, but when you're being an ignorant dick, it's time for you to go. Now, be gone. Take care. Have a good day. Sorry, Joe. Please carry on.
That's all right. I thought the other big thing to look at in this final as well, from Aubameyang's point of view, I don't think getting into Europe would have been a thing for him in terms of what would have kept him. If we'd, not got into the FA Cup final and finished 6th or 5th, got into the Europa League, that wouldn't have come into decision. But what we've managed to do today is scratch that itch of the fact that he hadn't won a trophy since he was at Dortmund.
Yeah,
I think did he even play in that cup final? Must have done.
I seem to remember reading he didn't even play. So yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's the main thing. When players get to this kind of age, when we mentioned about Van Persie as well, if we'd won an FA Cup when Van Persie was about, it would have scratched that itch for him of wanting to win trophies. And I think we can continue to do that it will see that Arteta knows and wants to win stuff. Jace, you're on mute. I'm sure your point is very, very informative.
I apologise. I'm so sorry. You think, okay, it's been such a tumultuous season. You look at the Emery nonsense. You look at the way our form went off a cliff. You look at the tough time that Freddie had. You look at Arteta coming in, and then they're starting to, find a bit of form. And then COVID. Do you think that's going to have some part to play in Albert's decision?
I think it might do, because people won't necessarily come in for him with the kind of money that he feels like he could get. Arsenal have got the upside that now winning the FA Cup. One, we've scratched that itch for Aubameyang. He's got a trophy. He's lifted it as captain of Arsenal. He could continue to do that. Whichever club he'd go to next, I doubt they'd throw him immediately the captain's armband. The kind of sides we're talking about. if he wanted to go to like a Real Madrid, a Barcelona, the big clubs, Bayern Munich, they're not giving him the captain's armband to turn up there. PSG might, but they're a bit of a different kettle of fish. But what Aubameyang has got here, if we've got the funds, and I think we will, to give him what he wants, I'd very happily give him a 3-year extension to his contract, because if he's still smashing in goals, why not? And if he isn't, we've got enough on it to sell him. Sorry, Chris.
Vivian, sorry. One sec, Chris. Vivian, Thunder Road is reporting a guy made up a false account, and that's what it said. He wasn't having a go at us. Thunder Road's one of our regulars. It's okay. It's just somebody who came in earlier on and made up some really nasty fake usernames. Sorry, Chris, carry on.
What have you? Josh is spot on. What have you got to lose? We're living in a world where we don't even know what's going to happen in the world in 6 months. We don't know. There could be a second wave. There may not be. We may have fans in the stadiums. We may not do. There's so many situations that we just don't know about at the moment. And if you're Aubameyang and you're looking at the situation as a whole, as Josh is quite right in saying, he's the captain of the club. He's clearly loved by a group of supporters that get behind him week in, week out. He's okay. Yes, he's playing out of position, but that potentially may change if we shuffle the striking line. Even if we don't, let's just say we keep Lacazette and we keep Aubameyang, one of them gets injured. Say, for example, Lacazette gets injured for a period of time. That's when Aubameyang may well go through the middle again. He will play every single week. I thought Arteta's comment after the game was very interesting. When I felt like the mask slipped for a second when Arteta said, "I want to build the team around him." That's a very telling thing for a manager to say. Not many managers. And let's be honest, not many experienced managers, Mikel's still learning, would have maybe said that. And I think in the heat of the moment, that kind of slipped out. You're saying you want to build a whole team around the player. That's the biggest show of faith you can have from a manager. And I think similar has happened with Ainsley Maitland-Niles, who I think he's gently trying to convince to stay. It's his style of man management. And if you're Aubameyang, and yes, you can go to a big club. You only have to look at what's happened to Anton Griezmann at Barcelona. Yeah. Sometimes you can get that big move and it doesn't work out. Let's be honest, Tierney didn't really fit at Barcelona. So yes, you might bring payday, and yes, you might be involved in a squad that wins a trophy, but be a squad player or be basically the forefront, the figurehead, and the captain who can drop a trophy and still make it look cool. I mean, I'd stick around.
He's just retweeted the Arsenal tweet. And I know I'm not one for this, but Chips put this in the group. Arsenal tweeted putting them an image of him and Nketiah with the cup, beautiful, heads up FA Cup final, blah, 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 blah. Albers retweeted it with the title, My Manager. I think he's gonna be resigning, lads.
Yeah, and the look on Arteta's face when he hugged Xhaka as well, because I think that was a conversation that happened 8 months ago as well, when he was 2 foot out the door almost on the way to Hertha Berlin, and he'd said, "Stick around, something special will happen this season." And you could just see Arteta almost go to Xhaka and say, "Told you so," as they embraced after the final whistle.
We'll talk about that in a bit, guys. Okay, I want to come back to that. Let's finish off the game now, okay? We see now, Chris, we see the Kovacic red card. The thing that gets me is Ceballos gets up, he asks for the second yellow. Fine. I ain't got a problem with that because they see that. You see that in the Premier League week in, week out. He books Ceballos first. Then he books Kovacic. Yes, it's soft. I've got no problem with saying it's soft, okay? It's so soft. But the luck went our way again today, didn't it? It's a bit like the Victor Moses red card. That was a nailed on second yellow. This one was soft today, but we did have the rub of the green with Anthony Taylor today.
Yeah, I mean, everybody knows Anthony Taylor is a Gooner. Well done, Anthony. Good performance. Agent Taylor, checks in the post. Thank you very much. But no, in all seriousness, I mean, we it's a very difficult one when you start getting into referee decisions. We have had plenty go against us this season, particularly when it comes to the little virgin who sits in the box and presses buttons with TV screens. We've had a lot go against us in terms of that. But so have other clubs. You know, Aston Villa, let's not forget, essentially stayed up because a piece of technology didn't work. You know, and Bournemouth have gone. So it happens to all clubs. Chelsea have had the rub of the green, as we mentioned earlier on, when they shithoused their way to the points against us with Jorginho, who should have been sent off in that game. I seem to remember Marcos Alonso assaulting Hector Bellerin in the penalty area a few years ago, and nothing was done about that. You know, we've had situations against Chelsea and against all other clubs where you can look down and go, yeah, we've got the rub of the green. The one thing I would say about Kovacic, was that tackle that he got sent a second booking for a booking? No. But were the previous other 6 fouls that he made in the game? Probably. He went through the back of somebody 2 minutes after he got booked.
Bang on. And he pulled, I can't remember who he pulled back. He pulled somebody back as well. Yeah. But, you know, it's one of those where, you know,
I tell you what it is, Jake. It's bad management. You know, I know we're talking about Arsenal here, but everyone's banging on about how wonderful Frank Lampard is. That's poor management. He should have been hooked the minute that he made those second and third and fourth fouls, because it's like Mason Mount. It was a red card waiting to happen in a crucial area of the pitch where you have to make tackles, and he made one tackle too many. And yes, you know, as I say, I wouldn't have booked him for that challenge, but it wasn't a clever challenge to make in front of a referee when you're on a booking.
And if you're totting up.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, before we got the next one, Ian Barron's in the box and he says, "Hi guys, can you please send a shout out for Darlington FC? We were made bankrupt in 2011, reformed in 2012, and have had 3 promotions and are currently far-known National League North club. Thank you." Ian Barron, good luck to Darlington FC. We wish you the very, very best. This is the shittier end of football we see, where unfortunately clubs and fans have to suffer, and we feel your pain, and we just wish you the very, very best for the future. Good luck. Colonial Cannon, the Jason Schrader's in the box, and he says, "I'm still smiling year to year. The voicemail he left me is primo. It's absolutely world class." Josh, Rudiger then picks up a yellow. Chelsea are losing their heads. And it is so, so sweet to see, isn't it?
Yeah, they couldn't really do anything now because we were going, I think, to be fair, I'd say nicely about it, where we're just letting Chelsea kind of have the ball. And if we've got it, we're just kind of breaking on them a little bit. And yeah, we're getting to them. This is the kind of position they haven't necessarily been in this season. We've seen it from Frank Lampard as well, that when his team's down in a cup competition, he's not great at bringing them back. We saw that in the playoffs last season, that in a final it's not necessarily the right place for him to bring his team back to motivate them in that kind of regard. I think it will turn out to be one of those managers that, you know, thinks he's great and just can't translate that to his players on the field, which we have an abundance.
Unai Emery. but it was really interesting to see. You have Chelsea making their last substitutions, Kris. So Hudson-Odoi, Barkley, and Abraham coming on. They're going to chuck the kitchen sink in it. I was surprised they took off Mount, but there you go. Martinez and the VAR happens. Then Eddie comes on for Lacazette. Please talk to me about Lacazette, because today I thought he was absolutely outstanding.
Yeah, he was. Just really quickly, actually, on Emmy, I've looked at the photos, and yeah, his hands clearly are just on the line. And fair play to him. My heart was in my arse, which was in space at that particular moment.
That's quality keeping, then, isn't it? That's quality.
Yeah, he came for everything, didn't he? You know, he came for everything, even things he didn't get. He came for a lot. So fair play to him. As for Lacazette, yeah, I mean, you know, everybody knows probably by now how much I love the guy. I think he's a fantastic centre forward. Has he had his ups and downs at Arsenal? Yes, but let's not forget he was our Player of the Year last year, playing through an injury for several months before.
You can't count that. They only put 6 people up. we know who'd have had Player of the Year if they would have allowed all the players behave.
Yeah, probably. But even so, he had a huge contribution in difficult circumstances last year. He's a player that we've said it on this pod before. We'll probably say it to a blue in the face. You have to play to his strengths. And the style of play that we're playing, we're essentially reinventing Alex Lacazette at the moment, and that's something that I think he's embraced, and I think he's taken on board. He could very easily have sulked. He could very easily have had a back injury, but he hasn't. He's worked hard in training. He's put the shift in. He's put the hard yards in, and the one thing that you will always get from him is he works his fucking bollocks off. And I know that should be the very minimum you expect from every Premier League footballer, but you simply don't get it from a lot of Premier League footballers, from a lot of superstar players, from a lot of players that have got bigger reputations. He works his ass off. Is he going to stick around? And Josh just hit the nail on the head there. Karim Benzema, underappreciated in Spain at Real Madrid, certainly well appreciated in the digital video catalogues, but. Yeah, he's very much a similar style of player. And you talk to any Real Madrid fan and say who's been your player of the season, they'll tell you Karim Benzema. Has he scored all the goals? No, but he works the way Laka works, and he creates the space for others to run into, and his ability to use that space cleverly as well. It's not just about being in the right area and working hard. You've also got to pull defenders out of play, out of positions, free up the space for the likes of Pepe and Aubameyang. But yeah, I think he's great. And the one thing that probably isn't particularly broadcast very well, but I know from his time at Lyon and certainly in his time at Arsenal, it's been particularly on his Instagram. If you look at that at the moment, he's a big personality. He gets people together, and he's a very loud presence in that dressing room, and he's a motivator. So I hope we keep him. I think he would be happy to stay. The biggest problem that he's probably going to face this summer is that we haven't got a huge amount of money and a lot of rebuilding to do, and he's got some value. So my worry is that we might cash in on that, but hopefully we don't. I'd like to see him stay. And as you said today, he grew into that game and he worked his nuts off.
Yeah, I'd look. Whatever's going to happen this summer, we can't control that, but I think we give credit to the guys who did well today. And so we go on. Sokratis replaces Luiz, who was injured on 85 minutes. I want to pay tribute to Sokratis. He's not my favourite player. I don't think he's ever been good enough for us, as everybody knows. I went a little bit over the top when he signed. A little bit.
You never mentioned that, Jace. Come on.
I know. But his attitude has always been spot on. His attitude coming onto that pitch, regardless of the mistakes, regardless of how limited I think he is as a player, his attitude has always been spot on, and that's a great credit to him. And I thought he deserved coming on for to get an appearance in a cup final and to get the medal that he deserved. Fair play to him. It's not his fault. He's not Arteta style of player. But the one thing I think we can all have faith in him is he won't let you down in the attitude and effort department, which, we need that. We need that. Guys, I'm trying to keep up with all the Auckland is red, Jersey City is red, San Jose is red. I'll do my best, okay? If I miss you, keep on putting it in, and I'll get back to you. Josh, as the game's coming to petering out, we're at 7 minutes of added time. We see Collar come on for KT, for Kim Tierney. They were kind of done. They were going through the motions of going for it, weren't they?
Yeah, I think so. I think it looked like Chelsea had kind of given up as well, to be honest. I think they kind of knew it was beat, and certainly after the Pedro injury as well. I mean, poor guy. If the worst you come out of Sokratis landing off you is just a dislocated shoulder, then fair play. The guy's made of stronger stuff than I am. But yeah, that kind of killed any momentum that was previously in the game towards Chelsea, just completely out of it. And the most frustrating thing I found was how Martinez just felt like his only response was just to twat the ball back up to Caballero. who I'd like to say for any Simpsons fans, every time I thought Willy Caballero got the ball, I was thinking of the Canyonero song. That's a very niche reference for all the Simpsons fans out there. But if anybody can tell me about a 40 tons of Argentinian pride, there's one for you. But yeah, I was just frustrated that as a team that we've kind of lauded ourselves as being heavily possession based, that was our response to killing time. It was only until Granit Xhaka decided to break from midfield that we went anywhere near the corner to try and kill time.
Yeah, it's nuts, isn't it? It was great to see. You know, it was great to see. I particularly liked that from Xhaka. He kept his head. You know, yeah. A quick shout out to Pedro. You know, that was really nasty to see. But sorry, Pedro. Fuck you. You've caused us enough trouble in the past, and I don't really care. But that's the game, lads. Kris, to you first. I can't tell you how thrilled I am, how excited I was, how proud of the guys I am. The fact they've been through all that. They've been through everything this season, and they've come out on top. And they brought a trophy home. They brought a trophy home. And just to put this into perspective, lads, Matt Smith has played 0 minutes for us this season and has more winners' medals than Tottenham Hotspur in the last 10 years.
Well, also, I can beat that. You know?
Go on.
Did you know Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang has dropped more trophies than Spurs have won in the last 10 years? Oh, dear. Yeah, I mean, like you said there, Jace, you know, the thing is, when the dust settles, which is not today, that's not a conversation that needs to be had today. When the dust settles and Mikel pulls up at the training ground on Monday morning, or, you know, whenever it is, probably in like a clapped out Ford Fiesta, because he strikes me as the type who doesn't really do flashy, and he combs that delightful Lego hair of his, and he zips up the Gucci. I'm sure he will sit there and go, Jesus Christ, what a year. Because that man has had everything thrown at him, including a bloody worldwide virus. But when we look back at it, you know, we won't remember the 8th place. We won't remember the shitty times. What we'll remember, Spurs fans, listen very carefully here, we'll remember the trophy. And we'll remember how this season has turned around so much. And, you know, I'm not one to sort of Emery bash. You know, I think what he did in his first season, it was the David Moyes effect. You know, there was always going to be that first manager after Arsene. He's on a bit of a hiding to nothing. I thought he did a pretty good job in that first season. And it all culminated in a bit of a mess, you know. And I think looking back, I'm not sure he was given the backing that Arteta has been given. And I also think...
It's not excuses for him. He knew the job.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Okay.
I don't think he should have been. I don't think, in hindsight, he should have really been given that job when they clearly wanted Arteta and they didn't go hard enough to get him.
Look, I'm sorry, okay, mate, but no, I'm sorry, okay. He won the job fair and square. I know he actually got, you know, the Spurs performance at home was magnificent. We played such exciting football during that game, okay? And he never tried to build on it and he never tried to replicate it, okay? He kept on chopping and changing. He got his just desserts. Yet you watch the application of these guys under Mikel Arteta and the way they've bought into the vision, the way they bought into the plan, the way they're saying, yes, boss, we're following you. I'm loving watching this.
Communication. And as I said, you know, that was the past. And that, you know, I'm not in here to defend the previous manager. I'm just saying that every story has a start, a middle, and an end. And the thing that I like about Arteta is he will make mistakes. You know, his substitutions when he first came in were a bit questionable. Some of his in-game management initially was a little bit suspect. And I'm sure going into next season and seasons beyond, he will make mistakes. What I like about Arteta is he takes no shit. You know, we've seen that from Guendouzi. We've seen that about Ozil. I think there's probably more to the Ozil, you know, that meets the eye. But even so, he, you know, if he has been told you don't play him, he's gone along with that. He's got players on side. He's got work rate out of players. He's brought Granit Xhaka back from the dead, you know, literally from the dead. Ainsley Maitland-Niles, who, I still think I still don't quite buy the hype that everybody had when he first came in, but I think there's a player there, and I think if you can keep him, there's certainly a useful player there. The job he's done with Eddie Nketiah, bringing him back from Leeds, which I don't think any other manager would have taken the gamble to bring him back in and play him ahead of players like Lacazette at the time, and still keeping Lacazette on point. The job he's done with a player like Martinelli, who he's brought through. That again, people just think, oh, well, Martinelli's a talent. He would have broken through. No, he still had to be given the games. He still had to be given the opportunity to get into the side and trusted. Saka, everybody's crying for this guy to be in the first team. Arteta, clever management. Get him on side, give him the game, get him a contract, then just bring him down a level and go, yeah, your time will come. You're part of this squad. You're part of the overall building process. And you mentioned someone like Sokratis earlier on, Jace. He's clearly been told that there isn't a future at the club for him, but he's trained hard, he's worked hard, he's been available, and everything he's done behind the scenes, by all accounts, from what I've heard, has been positive. That's the thing that he's brought, and it's really refreshing as an Arsenal fan to enjoy it again, because it's been tough. For me, it's been tough for a number of years, even in the last few years of Arsene. And it's really encouraging to look at a manager and look at a squad who want to play for each other, who want to play for the badge, and who want to play for a future. And that's all you can ask. And if we finish 6th next season because 5 other teams are better than us, so be it. But I'm on board with what Mikel is trying to do. And the only thing that he needs this summer now is the backing, not from us as fans, but from the people who pay his wages.
Can't disagree with that at all. Josh, what a day. I thought a few of us were pretty confident going into today, but the first 20 minutes of that game, heads are down. It's another step in the series of redemption, isn't it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. In a world where apparently redemption doesn't really exist anymore, I've seen it's one of those things that, this modern age, people just don't allow redemption stories. People can say something and they can't come back from it. It's that whole kind of cancel culture. This is a huge thing just in general society to see like redemptions like this. Now, what I would say though, Jace, is was I nervous in the first 20 minutes or the last 20 minutes? I'd say more nervous in those last 20 minutes than in that first lot. I was bricking it. I couldn't sit still. I broke up at least 6 elastic bands I was playing with at the time. I just go into the toilet every 5 minutes. I think I'm going to need to get checked my prostate after this because I was just nervous weeing left, right and centre. I was happy for drinks breaks, let's put it that way, because they were a good opportunity to get it all out. But yeah, it was just such a mental game. I couldn't deal with it. Arsenal just found every single way to get under my skin of nerves. And I think the top it was just the fact how we wouldn't kill that game. It was like, Martinez just like, let's just twat it up to Caballero. It's like, no, come on, you've shown for 85 fucking minutes beforehand, you can play it out from the back and play it through midfield. And they've got 2 less men now, and you're still twatting it up the other end. Just throw it to a fullback, please.
It was we were 11 men playing 10 at that point as well. That really frustrated me. I just thought, why? Okay, pop it over the top into the middle. Let's bring people into it. But no.
Martinez is thinking, you know what? I don't think a goalkeeper scored in the FA Cup final. I'm going to have a go. And I think that's what he was doing for the last 5 minutes.
No, absolutely. Right, guys. Kris, first of all, I want to talk about 2 players in particular. Okay? For me, Alba's man of the match. He scored 2 goals and the winner in a cup final. And I don't care. He's the man of the match. I don't care. But, in all fairness, a guy who started off atrociously and deserved to be shot at that point, came back, and it's been the story of his Arsenal career under Arteta. He was awful until Arteta got here. The Dubai trip happened. He's got his head in the right place. And to be fair to him, he has been excellent since then. And I thought Danny Ceballos today, he came back after that first drinks break, and he was everything I want from an Arsenal player. And this is a guy you couldn't pay me to buy, a few months ago. But right now, I'm thinking, hats off to you, Danny. Fair play. You are superb. Kris, talk to me about him, please.
Right. Well, I'm going to start by saying I told you so. And it's a little bit of a troll, of course it is. But you know what? Sometimes
you deserve it. You deserve it.
You need to give yourself some credit, So I take plenty of stick on here, and it's all...
you and Neil Chimp. Neil Chimp said the same. To be fair,
yeah,
give him credit.
I think sometimes you have to look beneath the skin of a player. Sometimes you just have to look at a player and go, actually, then either not in the right system, maybe they're not coached correctly, maybe they're not given their legs. I always saw something in Ceballos. I love the way he always demands the ball. He always wants the ball. He always looks to move the ball forwards where he can. His work rate is exceptional. The only reason he wasn't playing at Real Madrid was because Zidane didn't fancy him, which, that's fair enough. That's Zidane's personal choice, whatever. He would be in that team otherwise, I'm pretty sure. And you've got to be a pretty good footballer to represent Real Madrid. And the fact that we got him on the loan deal, the fact that we had the opportunity to have him this season and sort of see what we were getting, that's exactly why you take certain players on loan, because you look at them and you say, right, how have they adjusted? How do they fit? And I think he's been absolutely fantastic. And yeah, I am going to slightly pat myself on the back here, because I do remember a lot of people, when I defended him, months ago, even before the lockdown, people said, oh yeah, no, he's this, he's that. And I was like, nah, honestly, under the right coaching, given a bit of time, he will come good. And I think, yeah, the partnership with Xhaka has been really, really good. I'm sure we'll come on to that. But I just thought probably hopefully Josh agrees with me. I thought he was the best player on the pitch today. And he grew into that game, and he run that midfield, and he's got so much more. That's what I really like about him. He's a young lad. There's more to give. There's more to come from him, and I really like him. I really think he's a talented, quality footballer, and his attitude has been spot on.
I think that's the big thing you've just said there. There's more to come. At the moment, okay, I'm very impressed with the way he's turned his season around. Okay, from what a blinder against a bad Burnley side is great, okay? But the rest of the season, he flattered his CV. He was nowhere. The Liverpool game, he was an embarrassment. But he's come back from it. His game against Man City was magnificent. But him and Xhaka are by no means perfect. But to be fair today, guys, give the guy credit, because he's earned it. He's gone out there. He's done his talking on the pitch. And he's come back. He'll have been devastated by that first goal. He knows he's responsible. And he's had the cojones to come back from it. Josh, I want you to talk about Emi Martinez. Because at the end, when him and Alba are being interviewed, and he starts crying, I went again. The tears started. Emi's crying. I'm crying. I up until last week, still, I think it's Leno's place to lose. After today, my mind is, you're talking about two players who've changed my mind by performances, attitude, hard work. I was so chuffed for him. I was so chuffed for Emi Martinez. Talk about him, please.
Yeah, well, to be honest, can I go first with Ceballos, man of the match? Then I'll move on. Martinez. Emi Martinez was, I thought, great. As much as I just had a go at him for deciding to try and score a goal in the last 10 minutes, try and lob Caballero constantly with the awful goal kicks, the fact that he was coming and claiming for every single one of those crosses, that's something that's going to not only put so much confidence into your defense, but take away from the attackers as well. Because if you think you're going to put in a cross, you're going to try your best. I'm sure when Pedro was cutting back and he's going, right, this is my best cross all game, and you get the opposing goalkeeper just plucking it out of the air. Yeah, absolutely perfect.
He's a lot bigger than Leno, and he uses it well, doesn't he?
I don't think he is a lot bigger.
Yeah, he's about 3-4 inches taller than Leno.
Oh, is he? Really?
Yeah. Yeah, he's
Okay.
at least 3 inches taller than Leno. Yeah. Oh, he is.
He's like 6'4". He's 6'4", isn't he?
Yeah.
Because Macy's about 6'1" on there. I think they used him to change the light bulbs in the floodlights at the Emirates.
Hey, Matt Macy is 6 foot Kris.
6 foot Kris. So what? 6'2". But yeah, in terms of his performance, I thought he was great. There was some great saves out there. I don't think he was tested too much. We're gonna have to say that's kind of credit to our defence in front, to be honest, because bodies were on the line there. They were getting chucked in. I think it's one of the reasons why. If you said to us, or I said to you, Jace, in January, Danny Ceballos would be throwing himself in front of a shot,
I'd have laughed.
You would have pissed yourself, and you would have called me a wanker and told me just to ask me what I've been drinking, where you could get some, because it sounds like great stuff. And that was the kind of performance we saw today from all of our defence.
Superb. That last 5-10 minutes, you saw people prepared to chuck their bodies on the line, a la Liverpool, a la City, okay? And I was proud of them. I was just proud of, even if the worst had have happened, I'd have, you've got to appreciate the effort. But Emi Martinez, the way he commanded that box when the crosses are coming in, but the bit I really loved was when he shithoused it up. Okay, I just thought, Spina! Oh, my back's so bad. Oh no! Oh, ref! I need the physio on. It was great to see. Credit to the two guys. I haven't really ever given Martinez stick, but I didn't think he could pull out what he's pulled out in the last 10, 12 games. But Danny Ceballos...
It's a big decision, Jace, as well.
Sorry?
No, I know it's probably for another day, but there's a big decision to be made in the summer now. Like he's come in and made a decision to be talked about.
I didn't think so before a couple of weeks ago. I genuinely didn't, but now I think you're right. I think there is a decision that needs to be made. What's going to happen there, I don't know. But
the big thing is his career, because it's not just about what we choose to do. He has come in and proven that he is a number one goalkeeper. He's not a backup goalkeeper anymore. He's a number one.
Look.
And somebody, even a team like even a team like a Leeds, or they've got, but even a team that is in mid-table, like look at Everton. Look at Chelsea. Look at their goalkeepers. You look at someone like Pickford, and you look at teams like Everton. We've got a bit of money, and then we're looking and thinking, actually, the like Sheffield United lose Dean Henderson. I mean, I think Martinez is a higher level of that now. But there is a decision to make, and this is not a slight on Bernd Leno, because Bernd Leno has been fantastic. But sometimes things happen, and sometimes players just take chances, and you can't just take.
It's going to come down to who does Arteta want? Who does Arteta see as the future? To be fair to them, I think the distribution of both of them is good. I think people were measuring Leno on when we were poor playing out from the back, when we hadn't got to grips with it. You've got to look at Martinez since. We've gotten to grips with playing out from the back. We're a hell of a lot more confident now than we were. And that's got part to play in it. But I'm at the point with whoever Arteta chooses, I don't mind. I do think Martinez has a slight advantage in the way he controls the box and the way he comes out for those crosses.
The way he holds.
I don't think Leno is up to mustard in that way. They've both proven themselves to be great shot stoppers.
I think there's another thing that we need to bear in mind, though, is Martinez doesn't have any real competition at the moment.
No.
Leno has only just come back from injury, so he knows his position is safe. That if he throws a ricket, say, in any game, he knows 98% sure he'll still be between the sticks next week. And it's that extra confidence that I think is helping him kind of, he's not second guessing his decisions because he knows that he won't get dropped on a heartbeat. Whereas if you've got Leno pushing you and you make a couple of mistakes in a couple of games, I think we've seen him make a couple where he could do better with some shots he's received. and that's where I wouldn't make any decision this summer on either of the goalkeepers. And saying it, we need to see Martinez in the same position that Leno's been in, where he's got proper competition in behind him.
I think that's a great point, but I think for us as a club at the moment, the biggest issue is going to be if somebody comes in with a large enough offer. Okay, if somebody comes in with 50 million, we've spoken about this before. We can't see anybody coming in with 50 million for any of them. Okay, but if somebody does come in with 50 million for Leno, I think that's too much to turn down.
The one you've got to keep an eye on, Jace, is Atletico Madrid, because Chelsea want Jan Oblak. And if Jan Oblak moves, Atletico Madrid need a top quality goalkeeper. And I don't think they're going to take Kepa. And Diego Simeone just so happens to be Argentine. So that's probably one that you want to. If you look at all the big clubs in Europe, most of them have got a top class goalkeeper now, excluding Man United. So, there's just for you, Josh, there's, a lot of clubs have got Juventus, Szczesny, Handanovic at Inter. You just go through the roster to Stegen at Barcelona. They've all got top quality goalkeepers. Atletico are the ones that are the most at risk of losing Oblak, I think, because Chelsea, we know. Look at the money they've thrown around already this summer. They need a big world class goalkeeper, and I don't think Dean Henderson or Pickford is that. And
K-Man 1867 makes the point, which, to be fair, Mr. Dawes been making for a couple of seasons now. David De Gea is absolutely putrid at the moment.
I would like to say that the word now is completely irrelevant in that sentence.
No. 2 years ago. 2 years ago. I did say 3 years
3 years ago. 4 years ago. I would have said it.
You've been saying it for years.
If anybody would remember when the Football Hipsters was still a podcast, that's when I was talking about it.
A bit. Chat box. I got 190 likes. Oh. What is 190 not?
Come on.
It's not fucking 200, is it? No, it's not. So start tapping that like button, people. Tappy. Let's get going, please. Right, we're going to do some questions and we're going to chat some shit for a bit. To everybody listening, apologies. The quality of this podcast is not up to mustard. We've been abusing Chelsea fans and just laughing at them. And
someone's just put my trigger word in the chat box as well.
What's that?
Joe Hart.
Oh, don't get me fucking started. Fuck Joe Hart, okay? But we just won an FA Cup final and we're so excited. We're just talking bollocks and enjoying ourselves. And I hope you guys in the chat box are enjoying as well. It's just, oh my fucking God. This is such a good feeling after such a shitty season. So, yeah. Colo's used cars comes in with, I think we could get Shea Given. He'd do a better job than David De Gea, that's for certain. Right, so I tell you what, let's start with this one. Kris, our friend Orpheus Jones says, do you think we will shift to 4 at the back next season?
Yes. Yeah, I do. I think we might see a bit of both initially, because this is in this weird world that we live in, which, by the way, stop the train, I want to get off because I've had enough of this year already. But we 6 weeks from the start of the season? I mean, it's not long, is it? So, there isn't a lot of time for Arteta to adjust. Pre-season is going to be really interesting this year as well, because I think we're going to probably go back to like the old days where we used to go to like Austria or Sweden. I think we're going to be playing sort of Boreham Wood again and a lot of local friendlies. So it'll be interesting to see how much we can glean from that, because I think if anything, it might actually be a positive, because it'll be less about the commercial money-making exercises and more about the actual football and the training camps. So it'll be interesting to see what we do there. I guess we'll go to Dubai for a bit again as well. So yeah, it will be interesting to sort of see what changes in terms of tactics and the setup. We've got William Saliba in the club now. He's begun training with us. So I don't think you spend as much money as we have on him, and I don't think you put as much. There's not as much hype about a player if you're not going to play him. Do I think he'll walk straight into the starting lineup?
There's questions about him later. Don't leave that alone. Yeah. Leave that alone.
So with him coming in, I'll leave it there. I think he's probably going to be potentially one that we look at. It'll also depend on who we move out. I think Sokratis will be allowed to leave if the right offer comes up. There's also been talk that he's quite happy to stick around and be backup. If that's the case, keep him. If he's happy, then you keep that experience. Mustafi, I don't think we will sell now. As much as anything, we all know with Skodran, there's always going to be an error in him. That's the type of player he is. But fair play to him. He's come back stronger. But with his injury, I think that rules out selling him. Rob Holding's an interesting one. We'll see what happens there. I think he might be one that might be moved on. Callum Chambers to come back as well, don't forget. So, yeah, I think a back four is the way to go. But it just depends. And Tierney's clearly a proper left back. Bellerin, we're still working on him getting back to his strongest suit, if you will. But there were signs of it with that run today. So I think a back four, as much as anything else, we need to free up that creative slot for hopefully the player that we bring in to fill that. So I guess we'll see. But I wouldn't be against sticking with the back three. It just depends on players in and out, really.
I'd like to go to...
Sorry, I was going to say pre-season, Kris, is now a total of 4 weeks because we have now, unfortunately, qualified for the Charity Shield, which I think is at something stupid like the 28th of August.
Yeah. And I guess, do we go into the Europa preliminary stage? Or do we?
No, we are in it proper. Would you like to know who has to qualify for Europa League because of our results?
Tell us, Josh.
Is that Milton Keynes' team?
It might be some team from N17.
From Middlesex. Oh,
their pre-season started 2 days ago now, apparently, because of Europa League qualifying.
I've got to be honest here, but look, the Charity Shield, play the under 23s. Play the under 23s. Who gives a shit?
Well, we haven't got a chance anyway because we're playing the world's greatest team ever known to man, ever seen, ever. So we might as well just not turn up. Let's not forget. So,
I'm not being funny. The fans will be outside trying to burn the place down.
Oh
They'll be mugging each other.
Don't worry. They'll still be in lockdown.
Oh, God.
Do you know what? Okay, I remember I used to stand. My mate isn't even near in Liverpool. And stand on the cop. Okay, what a bunch of fucking wankers.
I'm going to go and inject my cat. I'll be right back.
Crack on, pal. Crack on. Josh, just going to build on what Kris said there. So we've got enough defenders at the club. We need to jettison and couple and get some value in for them. But how important are the midfield signings going to be to enable us to do that?
Oh, massive, without a shadow of a doubt. I think it's been the subject of every podcast since Arteta came in. This is a very functional midfield we've got at the moment. It was a midfield built by Unai Emery, who clearly didn't want to play through midfield, is the nicest excuse I can give him.
He didn't know what to do with the midfield.
Oh, it's the same as Jurgen Klopp, to be fair. Sorry. Sorry on that one. Yeah, we need to see what kind of midfielders we can get in. Now that, the season's kind of finished, we know where we stand in terms of what we can offer players. In our worst ever season, we've won a trophy. Imagine that. Worst ever season. In some teams' best ever seasons, they don't win trophies. And we've got one.
Do you know what gets me? When we were asked this, what will your season be out of 10 if we win the FA Cup? It's a 7 and it's a 7. But like you said earlier on, right now, it's a fucking 25 million out of 10.
I remember the pelters I got in the chat box for saying it would be a 10 if we won the FA Cup.
You did, yeah.
Yeah. Go on. Come at me, bro. That's all I'm saying. Come at me, bro.
What a feeling. What a feeling.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how utterly overwhelmed I am by that performance from that bunch of players who've been through so much. Redemption is everything.
I'd say, sorry, James. I was going to say, when this is something that you see in like the Far East, when they drop pottery, they repair it with solid gold. That's what a trophy's done for our season. Is we've just Emery kind of came in, smashed the pot, and then Arteta's kind of got all the pieces together and has just put this lovely little silver inlay into it. And that's what the FA Cup has done for our season. And 14 FA Cups. That's now 2 ahead of anybody else.
Yeah, 2 ahead.
And now we've got Community Shield. I'm pretty sure we've got the most Community Shields for what that's worth. Probably
I don't
nothing.
think he's fucking with that. But you know what gets me is Emery smashed the cap. But it's like a little kid in front of his mum.
Yeah.
It wasn't me, it was him. It was him.
Yeah. Oh, it was like Ivanovic with the Russian cup, if anybody saw that. Who makes a trophy out of fucking glass?
Apologies for the quality of today's show, guys. Let's be honest. I just can't get over how great that was and how good. The last time we beat Chelsea, I expected us to win. I don't know why. I just had that feeling. But today, I expected us to win. But I did expect the worst. Do you know what I mean? So it's just such a good feeling.
Say, as negative as I was, I knew we weren't keeping a clean sheet. That's basically, I was like, I don't want to say we're going to lose. I'm just going to say we're not going to keep a clean sheet. And as soon as we conceded after 5 minutes, I was like, to be fair, I said this was going to happen. I have to hope you bring this back now.
I'm glad you didn't put that in the group. You'd been jumped on.
No.
So to questions. Mike Hurt says, and this one's from me, how excited were you to see Sokratis? Genuinely, Mike, I was pleased for him. Like I said earlier on, I was pleased for him. I thought, like I say, okay, he's not my favourite player. He's limited, but I love his attitude. I love his commitment. And there's not much more you can ask for from any player. Players can't control their skill level, their aptitude, but they can choose their attitude, and that's what he's done. And well played to him. He deserves that medal. Kris, John Bernstein asks, will Stan have seen this? Will Stan seen this and spend more money, or does this just mean we have to have the Europa Cup money to spend now? I'm going to ask Josh about this as well. We've seen an awful lot of money spent over the last couple of seasons. We can't get away from that. As much as, okay, we've got good value out of Iwobi and we've made player sales, I do find this sort of narrative about Stan not spending money is a bit strange. Yes, as a club, we're self-sufficient, but that's what we're supposed to be.
Yeah. Sorry, just on Viv's point, poor cat. It's okay, Viv. He's diabetic, so he just needed his insulin. It's all good. I'm not a cat abuser. Don't worry.
It's not heroin.
No, it's definitely not. That's for me later. I'm joking. I'm joking. Teetotal. So. Yeah, I think the best person I've heard talk about this is our Drew. So if you want to hit Drew up, he will give you a good lesson on this if you need one. But yeah, I think it is a little bit of a myth that we haven't spent money. I think the biggest problem that Arsenal fans have with the Cronkies, and every time I say that, I just think of the Crankies. I can't get that vision out of my head. But I think the biggest problem that everyone has with the Cronkies is the lack of what's the word I'm looking for? They're not there. They're absentee owners. We saw that change last year a bit with Josh Kroenke sort of being front and center when we were spending some money and like to be in photographs and all that sort of stuff. We're starting to hear a little bit more from Edu now, which I think is a good sign, or he's being more visual. I think what people don't like most about the Cronkies is that they're spending a lot of money on other things. They're building this massive stadium in America. We're clearly not the priority. Well, newsflash, everyone, he's a very wealthy individual, and Arsenal probably isn't his priority right now. We have to just accept that, and that doesn't mean that we're just rolling over and going, oh, we should accept it. It's no different to what happens with Manchester United and the Glazers. They're completely absent. They don't give a monkeys about anything apart from the almighty dollar. What we have to do, and where we haven't done well in the past, is spend the money wisely. And that's the biggest issue. I don't think it's about the Cronkies providing money. It's about Arteta as a manager identifying the players, and rather than us going, oh, well, we can't get Wilfried Zaha, but I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll give you, I don't know, this random kid that nobody's ever heard of. You can have him. He'll be fine. But make him Zaha. And everyone that said, oh, we chose Pepe over Zaha, of course we did, because he's a better player. And that's what we need to do more of. It's not about spending large amounts, but it's about spending the money on the right players. And if Arteta has gone to the board and basically is, falls in front of them and says, look, these are the players I want. And I hope to God he's gone with them and said, these are the 4-5 options I want on my list A. If I can't get those, I want list B. I don't want list C, I don't want list D, and I don't want the player who's going to get us the most commercial value, which is ultimately what happened with Mesut Ozil. I want player A or player B on the main two lists. That's the only thing we're asking. I don't want to see Stan Kroenke in the press every 5 minutes going, "Hey, look at us, we're amazing." Hey, let's come down to the Arsenal. No, I don't want that. All I want is for our manager, who they've put faith in, and our management structure, the people around him, the Raul Sanjehis, the Edus. All I want is for that manager to get the backing. And if he signs the wrong players and they fail, I love Arteta, but that's on him. That's all I want.
I think that's a fair shout, mate. Josh, there's obviously a case. There's a massive... Yeah, he's called Silent Stan. I think Josh, his son, is going to be a different kettle of fish. We've seen him try to interact with the fans a lot more. But there's a massive lack of connection between the owners and the fans. And that plays into this narrative, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think so, because it's such a young and developing relationship, to be honest. The only reason we're so, into Arteta is because he's an ex-player. If this was just some other Pep's assistant, another one of Pep's assistants that came in, we wouldn't have given him as much time a day as we would to Mikel Arteta. It's because he's one of our own previously. If Josh Kroenke was, in playing for Arsenal beforehand, or as some of the previous Arsenal shareholders have been minority shareholders and been through Arsenal through and through, like Ken Fryer. There's nobody like Ken Fryer anymore. No. There's a reason why we're lauding him, 70 years working with Arsenal.
Could you imagine what he's seen?
Oh, Christ.
I don't want to know what he's seen. Yeah, I think some of those, I'll keep it quiet on them. But yeah.
God bless George.
It's that kind of thing that, since, I don't want to sound like a broken record, since Stan's taken over 100% of Arsenal, we have seen investments. Now, some might say, "Oh, you haven't spent millions and millions and millions." Arsenal have never spent millions and millions.
We've spent hundreds of millions.
Yeah, but we're not crass about our money in the same way you'd see like a Chelsea or a Man City. We don't spend crassly. That's it. So to be honest, we're the same Arsenal. Yeah. And when was the last time we smashed our transfer record by 30 million?
Last summer.
And you don't need huge. I mean, I know everybody uses the Leicester argument. I think, to be honest, I think that's just a bit of a freak situation. They had a wonderful side and the stars aligned for them. But you don't need to always spend vast amounts of money. You just need to invest in the right players who fit the right group at the right time in the right system under the right manager.
Yeah, we've got the right manager. We're bringing in the right system. And I'd also say the SoFi Stadium, that is the LA Rams and LA Chargers Stadium, that's finished now. They're moving into it for this season. So if we are going to see them turn up more, to be honest, Stan will stay with his investment with the Rams. Josh will be in London. But at the moment, someone might have fucking noticed there's a bit of a global pandemic going. Yeah. People aren't traveling that often to make these kind of journeys when they could sit behind the TV and look instead.
If you're Josh, you are Josh.
Yes, I am.
If Josh and your father owns Arsenal Football Club, a multi-million pound investment sponsored by, companies like Emirates and Adidas, two massive companies worldwide as well, and you're sitting there, surely you, as a Josh, are going to sit there and go, this is my opportunity to make my way in the business field. This is my chance. This is my vanity project now. I can be that guy, the Jack Walker, if you will, if Arsenal win the league, and go, there you go. Because look at the guys who run in Liverpool now. Absolutely lauded for what they've done. He's got the opportunity, if he wants now, Josh Kroenke's got the opportunity to be the figurehead of the turnaround of this club's future.
And Jace has already said it, with the sales that we've made, would you liken getting £120 million for Coutinho? It's probably the same as us getting 40 million for Iwobi. In that kind of, our ability to sell is getting quite good. And how we reinvest that money wasn't actually that bad. If you look back at it, 40 million got us Martinelli and David Luiz for that. That's not bad to get those two players.
It's going to be interesting to see the way it pans out, isn't it?
I think the big kind of there's a massive Venn diagram of people who get riled by the Kroenkes for what they're doing, and people who get riled for Hector Bellerin doing things other than football in his time off, and they sit right in the fucking middle. of those people.
Yeah,
And
let's
it's
not
the
go down
same
that
group
road.
of fans.
Let's
But
not
yeah,
go down that road
People
because
just love a moan, don't they?
yeah,
We
it's
should
like
get that.
we all love a moan about certain things, okay? But I think there's a difference between right. This is what I think of, like me and Raul Sanlehi. My ambition is for Raul Sanlehi to ram my words down my throat and prove himself a winner. Because if he's done that, this club thrives. And I'm happy.
Today is the perfect platform to catapult it. You saw the shirts they wore at the end of the game. 14, always forward. Well, if you're always forward, prove it.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you look at sort of Kieran Tierney, every said what a player. But another roller coaster season, out injured for long periods of time. Do you know what I mean? There's a story here, and these boys are living it, and they've come out on top after a very difficult season. So
we'll never have a better opportunity, Jason, to springboard. Look at the academy. Look at the young players we've got coming through. Look at the opportunity that we've got. We'll never have a better opportunity. And I'm not talking about us, winning the league next year or anything stupid like that. Every step at a time. The next step is get back among Europe's elite. The next step has got to be that Champions League qualification. And if we can finish higher up in the league as a result of that, or potentially even win that Europa League, fantastic. But the time to build is now. We've got everything in place to build.
We missed our opportunity after 2017.
Yeah.
We missed our opportunity after 2015. Okay, when it's just Czech coming in. Come on, God love you, Arsene Wenger, and nobody loves you more than me. But what the fuck were you thinking? And so this is where we need to kick on from. I totally agree with you. Josh, I'm going to stick with you. On235100 asks, does anyone think that the merest possibility of Coutinho joining Arsenal is a bad thing? And ask us all that. Let's kick off, Josh.
I've kind of flip-flopped on this one. It's very annoying. The thing that's happened is I think the amount of times that, Coutinho has been mentioned, the Stockholm syndrome of it has made me decide it's a good idea to a point. I'm not sure why. I've convinced myself it's a good idea. There's no basis to this other than people just keep saying Coutinho's coming. So I've had to decide that it's a good idea he's coming in to stay positive. It's difficult. It depends where he's going to play. If we sell I know, right, Jace, this is the problem that I've had now. If, say, Lacazette goes and we play Aubameyang through the middle, can I say Coutinho as a left winger? Maybe. The other problem I've got is I haven't seen him at Barcelona and I haven't watched him at Bayern Munich. So I don't know if he's still the same player, that every time that he gets the ball within about 30 to 40 yards away from goal, he decides to take a shot and knocks out a child in row Z. And he does that about 8 or 9 times a game. But then don't worry, because 6 times a season, it goes in the top corner. And that goes into a compilation created by like a 13-year-old in a dark bedroom with only a black light, giving the only light he's ever seen. And with a theme tune created.
That's not fair. Come on.
I know,
okay, fine.
He's being totally fair. He's being totally fair.
Totally fair. And then it's a drum and bass remix of a remix that's then been put through an auto tuner, and everybody says, and then that video is called #Coutinho Welcome to Arsenal.
So
that's what we'll see.
Basically, you're
there's nothing to say that if you go to my channel now, you'll see that exact video created by myself. But
as we speak,
that if Coutinho's still the player from Liverpool, no way do I want him. But if he has suddenly decided that, you know what, there's a chance I might be able to play a pass here instead of shooting, and I'm 40 yards out from goal, then maybe he should join the Arteta revolution. But otherwise, no, thank you. So that's what I'm convinced is that unknown that I don't know if at Bayern Munich and Barcelona, he suddenly decided that he didn't fancy shooting from 40 yards out.
I slightly disagree with Josh on this one.
Come on, then, Chris. Come on.
You do want him, and you enjoy watching.
Hey, Chris, be aware.
Yeah.
If you're not as entertaining as Josh was with that, you
well,
are getting absolutely hammered.
Oh, I'm out. I can't match that. I can't match that. That's Josh's moment of the season right there. That's in his YouTube highlights that we're going to produce later. Danny will be busy on that one. No, I just think that we're probably going to, if we're not going to ship our most creative player out of the club this summer, he certainly isn't going to play for us again. So he's just going to,
There's another question about him later, so leave that to the squad.
So let's assume he obviously he's not in consideration. The one thing this team lacks is a bit of creativity and a bit of unpredictability, and that is one thing you'll get in Coutinho. And the one thing that I slightly disagree with Josh on is that I would take the Liverpool Coutinho because when he was at Inter, which is another club I follow quite closely, when he signed for Liverpool, I remember John and I both going, well, that ain't going to work. No fucking chance. Because he's lightweight. He was hugely lightweight. He's very diminutive, very small, but he was just a very lightweight player. You could shove him off the ball, didn't have a lot of composure to ride a tackle, roll around on the floor. He just wasn't that a good player for that. He went to Liverpool, and he proved me wrong in a lot of respects because he actually drove that team on, and albeit he had Luis Suarez as a foil. But we've got Aubameyang. And that's the part that kind of excites me. I do take Josh's point. He does like a shot. That's been coached out of him at Barcelona to a degree because of the way they play. And by all accounts, he's been fairly decent at Bayern, albeit not having a huge amount of chances. I don't think he was, he was more of a substitute. But he did all right. Again, speak to Drew about that one.
He's playing in the strongest team in Germany.
Exactly that. So the only thing that worries me about this deal is the guy behind the deal. That's the only bit that worries me. It's almost like he's being farmed to us. If Arteta likes him and the money's right, I mean, if we can get him on a loan deal, I'm all over like a tramp on chips. If it's about a fee, I'm not so sure. And again, unfortunately, it appears that Guendouzi has burnt all his bridges. If he goes and we can get sort of some of the fee knocked off, fair enough. So I don't know. I just think if you're looking at creative talents that we could bring in this summer that are proven, I'm not talking about the raw players around Europe. That there's 10 a penny of number 10s or creative midfielders in Europe, and not a lot of them are not proven at top clubs or in the Premier League. Coutinho is both, and he's played for 4 massive European clubs.
Whoa. He's hardly proven at Barcelona. They couldn't wait to get him out the door. He's hardly proven at Bayern. They don't want to keep him.
But he's proven at Liverpool. You can't argue with that. And I would argue that we are now where Liverpool were then.
Look,
we're not Barcelona or Bayern Munich. We're a tier below that.
He's got no sell-on value to us. Okay, look, he's getting older. He's an overpaid show pony who hasn't he's not made a difference in any of these teams he's played in. He's just been a decent addition. He's not been a match winner for any of them. So why are we going to spunk money which offers us no value on him when we could invest in the Salibas of this world? Okay, if you're going to need some experienced pros to come in, get them in the centre of the park where they can dominate. And then, I'd like to see Saka in the middle. I'd like to see Reece Nelson, moving around. I want to see Martinelli on the pitch. I don't want Philip Coutinho taking up a space on the pitch, which could be used for one of these exciting youngsters to develop. But
it's an interesting.
I get your point, Kris, that we need somebody to come in to fill that kind of role, because the player that was already in the squad that would fill that role, unfortunately, is in Turkey at a Fortnite convention instead of the FA Cup final.
Right.
But we need somebody like that in the squad. But yeah,
and they're not easily accessible. I know you go on to the number 10, Chase. Just one other thing on this creative role. There's a player at Red Bull Leipzig who I would take in a heartbeat, and he probably wouldn't cost that much. And his name is Emil Forsberg. So,
he's a lovely player. He's a lovely player.
And if he's been out of favour at RB.
But not being funny, he's young as well, isn't he? He's young, okay? If I hear fucking up a Meccano one more time, I'm going to shoot myself.
Yeah, that's
Oh, no.
Right, let's move on. Let's move on. We need to end this thing. It's 2 hours already.
Yeah.
We've just spoken bollocks all the way through, which I've thoroughly enjoyed. Josh put this in the box. And it's for IZJ, who is a Chelsea fan. And he says,
Oh, we covered this.
Arsenal were by far the worst team. If Chelsea had Willian, Pulisic, Azpilicueta, Kante, and Kovacic, we would easily have won. They'd also had about 18 players on the pitch. Thank you, Mr. Taylor, for ruining it for Chelsea and ruining it for every neutral. Oh, IZJ, your piss must have been boiling.
Jace, I can't wait till you see the WhatsApp group and you see what OG has posted. It is hilarious. Anthony Taylor. It is.
I haven't had a chance to see it yet. Yeah. I'm really looking forward to that. Don't spoil it for me. Don't spoil it for me. Kris, Chandra Ramamurthy asks, guys, your opinion on Arteta. Is he looking like the real deal? Not a corn placer? Oh, not a corn placer, sorry. Sorry, Chandra. Chandra, I apologise. I'm so excited. I just
I have, like, 100%. The only, and again, I don't want to bring us down because we're all high and I want to keep us there. The only thing you just have to keep in mind is we're all riding the crest of a wave right now and things are fantastic. There will be some days where we look at things and go, oh. But what I like, as I said earlier, is I like the attitude, the application, the work rate, the coaching. And I know we've probably heard more of the coaching because of the lack of crowd. You know, we picked up on things. I know Josh has spoken about that before, where you hear and you observe a lot more from the coaching staff. And I love what Arteta's done with these water breaks. I think he, above most managers, has utilised those brilliantly to change things. But yeah, the big thing that I really like about Mikel, that I don't think we really got from Unai, we certainly had from Arsene, and we did with George before him, is Arteta strikes me as an Arsenal man. He strikes me as a man who wants this club to perform, it's not just all about him. He could easily have come in under Pep's wing and gone, yeah, well, this is all about me just trying to get a bigger job than Arsenal, and used us. I don't get that impression. I get the impression that he really wants to stick with us, make us something special. He's a former captain of the club, and I think it means something to him. And I think he's got a real project. He strikes me as a guy who's just got, you know, like Arsene had his famous video library of football matches. I reckon Mikel's probably got similar in terms of just pages and pages of notes, and you know, even down to the coaching staff. He's made really good appointments. That's gone under the radar. I think Steve Round's done a really good job.
Look, the coaching staff have done excellent. You know, you look at how well drilled we've been. You know, yes, we go back into bad habits now and again. I think the biggest telling indicator on this, the metric by which we measure them, look at his relationship with the players. Look at him with Auba. Look at him with Maitland-Niles. Look at him. He's giving everybody a chance. If you're too stupid to buy into this, if you're too stupid to jump on the Arteta train, okay, then more fool you. You can make snap judgments on a couple of poor games, but look at the general direction of travel. It's all positive. It's all going forward. I think that's very important. Josh, Pete Coulson asks, we must keep Danny, yeah? No?
We madame. We should keep Danny.
We need him. We can't get the podcast out otherwise.
Yeah.
No,
not that one, Mr. Ceballos.
Oh, okay.
So, what's the maximum you spend on him then, Josh?
22 million. I think that's the amount. I think that's the amount that I think we've already negotiated. To be honest, I think 22 million is about that. To be honest, I'd probably take 40. Probably pay 40 for him.
I wouldn't pay a penny over 25, but I think it's 22 million quid. That's a really good buy.
He's 23, isn't he? And Real Madrid, the best thing we know right now, God, Real Madrid needs some money right now. They need money. So, yeah, I would happily sort their financial problems by giving them £22 million so they can pay Gareth Bale to sit on the bench for another season.
So good to see. That'd not be funny. We could actually pay it over 10 years like they did for Nelka, you know. But Hey. Kris. K-Man 1867 asks, question for Kris, he says. Question for Kris. Especially for you. I want to tell you I was feeling that way too. What does Saliba bring to Arsenal, apart from being a unit?
Yeah, he's a big lad, isn't he? Yeah, I think a lot of people didn't realise. When you say, oh, he's 6'4", people just go, oh, he's 6'4". And then you see him in the flesh and you see how big he is, and he's up there with David Luiz in terms of stature. Yes. What does he bring? Well, I mean, we've gone over it in fairly good detail recently, but what he brings is a physicality with a bit of finesse. He brings a style that I think will suit Arteta down to the ground. He's a ball-playing centre-back. I said on this pod before, yes, there will be a couple of moments where he'll probably try and do something a little bit too ball-playing-y, and it might get us into trouble once or twice, but that's part of the learning process. He's very committed in the challenge. He doesn't leave anything behind. He's quite happy to put somebody up in the air if needs be, which I quite like about him. And he's a very mobile centre half. You know, I often you look at sort of how Rob Holding, for example, moves around the pitch. Sometimes you look at him and you go, "Cool, that's a bit of effort he's having to put in there for him to get up to speed and move about the pitch." Saliba's more of a glider, and he's a player that I think I used the comparison before. And a lot of people are getting on the Raphael Varane freight train. I think it's a bit early for that, but what Saliba reminds me of is a West Ham Rio Ferdinand. In his style, in his languid style of play. And obviously we all knew how good Rio went on to be. Even when he went on from West Ham to Leeds, you know, he was a Rolls Royce of a player within 2 years. And for all his ridiculous punditry, he was a hell of a footballer. So I think that's the kind of the type of player I'm hoping that he develops into. Of course, it's a gamble. Every signing is. But in terms of his physical approach and the way he attacks the ball is something I think is going to be very interesting. And I actually think this time next season, we might end up with a Pablo Mari Saliba first choice centre-back pairing.
Kris, does this mean, much like Rio Ferdinand, Saliba has a brother that rides his career coattails?
Not to my knowledge. And I certainly hope not.
And to be honest, if nobody knows the story, Anton Ferdinand's greatest football memorabilia is a shirt that his brother got him in the Champions League final.
Yeah, you gotta love that.
To be fair, Anton Ferdinand had a decent career.
No, he didn't.
Are you professional footballer for 10 plus years?
He
He earned a lot more than we did, okay?
That's true, but if my brother was Rio Ferdinand, I could convince him that I might be all right as football as well. Who was it? Was it what's it? George Weir's cousin. George Weir's cousin.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yes.
Yeah.
What was it? Ali Dai.
That's the one.
Oh,
yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
But Anton Ferdinand's a lot better than him, to be fair. Come on, let's not knock Anton Ferdinand now.
The only note of caution I would say on Saliba, as I said earlier, is remember he's young and remember he's coming into a completely new league. It's going to take time, but I think that we've got a player here if we manage him right and he gets coached right. And I think it's a big reason why we've kept David Luiz, because I think he's going to learn quite a lot from hopefully not the bad habits. But I think he's going to learn a little bit of the shithousery, and he's going to learn a lot of how the ball playing centre half of David Luiz is. I think he'll pick up a lot about that.
I think there's an awful lot of expectation on Saliba and Pablo Mari, and bearing in mind Pablo Mari's been a journeyman up until the last 12 months. I'm not going to put too much expectation on him. I'm glad we're keeping Mustafi and Luiz. I think Chambers may have a big part to play. Mavropanos, I see as the dark horse in all this. I genuinely see Mavropanos as a dark horse in all this. With his pace, he could become a real player if he gets the necessary game time in Germany. But let's hope they all do well.
He'll make us some money, if nothing else, as well, with a new contract. So
I'd like him to become a first team. Why go and buy players if the ones you've got do well?
Hopefully he goes and plays really well and comes back. But if not, at least we've protected his value. Which is
and why scout players when you just buy the ones you already know? Thanks, Fennis and Pat.
Moving on. Bavia John, so 22 million to 25 million is the most we pay for Danny Ceballos. We answered that. John Bernstein asks me, Jason, I'm happy about the Sean Fitzpatrick signing. I'm not a Turk. And when I say Turk, I mean somebody from Llanelli. Rich Williams is listening. That's you, mate. So I don't care. It's a rugby question, right? And people from Llanelli in Wales are called Turks. So there you go. A little bit of knowledge. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. I'll answer the next one. The Colts on asks, does this FA Cup win encourage players to come to the Arsenal? Yeah, I think it does. I think Europa League, I think any player and agent looking to where we've been this season and where we've ended up sees this as a positive project. I think, people talking about, like Kris mentioned, Arteta, he's seen this as a stepping stone. I don't think he does, because I don't think, he sees it that way. I think he may see us as a 4 to 6 year project for himself and then maybe look on. But in that time, he'll want to do something special. So, yeah, I think this win, you look at Auba's face, you look at the players in that squad, you look at their faces today, that was special. You look at how excited us three have been. You look at how excited the chat box has been. It's been magic. So let's ride it, and hopefully we can just, get the right people in.
Bloody enjoy it. It's been long enough.
Absolutely. Who's next for the question?
You need to ask me one, if that'd be nice.
Yeah.
Josh. Otherwise, I'm going to continue dancing to the Macarano. So however you say his name.
You move. You move like Jagger.
Up Macarano. Up Macarano.
Viva Arteta. Viva Arteta.
Right.
Vivian Whittle asks, apparently they compare Auba to Thierry Henry. Thoughts?
It's getting close, I think, to his legacy.
Ooh.
The thing TT has got over Uber is a few more medals in his cabinet for the Arsenal. Start winning us trophies, more trophies, and yeah, you get into that legacy. I'm not going to bat around it.
Tell you what Thierry Henry hasn't got that Auba's got.
What's that?
Goals.
I think he's got a little way to go yet. If I'm
Yeah, he's got a little way to go.
Literally won games for us, on his own the longest period of time.
Henry's up there.
Yeah. But it's not to slight Auba in any way,
Auba's done well in the time he's been here. He's been epic.
The other thing is, it's all a matter of opinion. I went on Twitter the other day. I know, silly me. And people were actually debating whether Dennis Bergkamp was an Arsenal legend. I literally nearly threw myself out the window. I mean, if you're that clueless, then there is no hope.
Oh, look, those people don't deserve airtime. Stop.
Just air. Full stop.
But it's interesting when hopefully he stays with us the next 3 seasons. We win the title, and then he's got a genuine shout, of being somebody who helped build something with us. So
I'd say he's overtaken someone like a Van Persie. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I think that's
2.5 seasons in his career. Fuck off.
Exactly.
Fuck off, Robin.
Yeah, lead us to a couple of Premier League titles. Help us go invincible for a season, and then don't turn up in turn up in a Champions League final. Then you'll be better than Emery.
Absolutely.
He's got everything that he could. If he stays, then he's got the opportunity to build on the status he's already got.
He's done great to me. But great question, Vivian. Great question. Good to have you in the chat box tonight. It's special for us. Thank you. Kris, Orpheus Jones again. We've spoken about Coutinho, but we'll leave out Coutinho out of this. Why would you be keen on Willian?
I'm not. Again, it's another one I'm not against. I know there's the age profile thing, but it does give us a bit of experience in wide areas that we don't really have. And again, it's that creativity thing.
Doesn't he play the same side as Pepe?
Can I quickly say something on Willian? It's very similar. It's very similar to my Coutinho rant. So what happens is you find a boy who supports a team in blue. He watches a man score 4 free kicks in a season. He then decides, he does this fairly often in the season. He's got about six goals, 6 or 8 goals. I'm going to put them together in a compilation video. I'm then going to speed up some of the replays of them to look like he hits the ball at 150 miles an hour before it hits the back of the net. And then I'm going to say, who's my favourite dubstep artist? I mean, there's no good dubstep artist, so it's certainly going to be my favourite one. I'm going to put one of their tracks on, but I'm going to put it in reverse and then play that at 2 times speed. And then I'm going to say, Willian is the greatest free kick taker of all kind. Welcome to Arsenal. That's his video.
So again, you're pretty keen.
So again, no, even on Willian, I'm at least certain on him that I don't want him here because we don't need a player to trot out to take a free kick for us and then trot off again. And that's the only thing he's going to do all game. Because to be fair, we had Nicolas Pepe this season to do that for us. Don't need another one.
And at least he's 18 odd goals or whatever it is.
Oh, exactly. The reason Willian has played so well currently is because guess what? He wants a new fucking contract at Chelsea.
Yeah.
Watch him disappear. Watch him disappear down the drain. Sorry.
I would take him if it was a short-term deal and the money was right. I don't think I'd be offering him a 3-year contract, but there's a reason why he was linked with Barcelona, in my opinion. I do think on his day he's a very good footballer. He's one of those players that sometimes when you look at a player and you just think he's just gone stale. He's been at the same club for too long. Just needs a freshening up. I think a move might actually do him the world of good.
Another thing that annoys me about Willian, he tries to score from every fucking corner he takes.
I mean, we got.
It's like John Joe Shelby. He's the other one. John Joe Shelby, top scorer for Newcastle this season with 6 goals. There you go. It's another dire state of affairs.
I think the 3-year deal, is a little bit perverse for Willian. So I would stay away from the 3-year deal. But if it was a 1 or a 1+1, probably. But again, it comes down to who's on the table. If there's better options.
Not being funny, we need to keep Bellerin. Okay, you've got Nelson. You've got Saka, you've got Martinelli. We've got enough talent out wide. We've got enough talent. And if we do keep Alba, because there's a question about that. I'm not sorry. Somebody asked about Alba. If we're going to build a future around Alba, is he going to play up top? No, he's not. He's going to keep him on the left.
Well, that depends on Lacazette, doesn't it?
Well, not really. Because I think Eddie, or they'll try to bring in a centre forward if Laka goes. He's not going to play Auber up top because he doesn't like that. He wants a hold up man who's going to do other things. But
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I am actually. I genuinely am. I can't see Auber playing up top. Do you not think that maybe Mikel had a little word with Alba maybe after COVID or after the break and said, look, we want you to stay. I need you to do a job on the left-hand side. Truth is, we're probably going to look at moving on one of the centre forwards, do a job for me for now, and next season we'll... Because I just keep going back to that comment after the game. I want to build this team around you. You don't build the team around a left winger.
Real Madrid with Cristiano Ronaldo next.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Ronaldo. Yeah.
Auber is not a hold-up merchant. He's not somebody who does the things that Mikel wants. They're playing almost an 8, aren't they? Lacazette's playing almost an 8.
A fluid front.
Yeah. I just think he sees the value, a la Liverpool, Salah, Mane, of those wide men.
That's a great example because Firmino is the Lacazette, but Lacazette's obviously far better and doesn't look like a. Not there's anything wrong with that. I think you should. Yeah, I think you essentially you want Pepe and Aubameyang almost to be switching wings, don't you? Switching sides all the time. But if you get in Pepe, if you get in someone like Willian, then for me that says to me, well, then you've got to move Aubameyang inside because as God love Eddie Nketiah, he's not getting you 25 goals a season. He's not winning you a cup final against Chelsea, is he?
But neither is Lacazette at the moment, who's a far more experienced player who has had big goals in the past. I just think that centre forward role at the moment is redundant for us unless he can bring in a specialist who he it does everything, ticks all those boxes, which is going to be a struggle to get. You'll have to pick up somebody young and see the potential in them. But
I hate saying this, but imagine Jamie Vardy in this side now. I hate myself for saying it, but imagine him as a centre forward in this team. Jesus. I know.
We need to concentrate on Martinelli, Saka, Nelson, because that's where the value is for us.
But remember, they're young. I mean, we need to rotate. Martinelli's not going to see football this calendar year. Saka is, obviously still developing, and you need to bring him in and out. And especially now, don't forget, you've got the Europa. So you probably don't need to loan out ESR, for example. You probably don't need to loan out Nelson, because that's when they're going to get their games.
You can probably guarantee Bellerin 6 games. You go, Bella. You're 6 games. Between the cups and that, there's 6 big games minimum. You do well, we play you. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, that's how Martinelli.
We can get rid of Eddie Nketiah as well, please.
Yeah,
because he had another moment. He had another moment today, didn't he?
Oh, leave Eddie Nketiah alone now. Stop it.
No.
Cactus makes a good point in the chat, by the way. I completely agree, Cactus. Edson Odward of Celtic is a player I'd have a little sniff at.
Is that because he's French?
Yeah. Do you know?
Sorry.
No, what I'm like, wide or centrally, so we can rotate. So if you bring in a player like that, you can naturally pull out to the wide and pull in. And you say to him and Aubameyang, it doesn't matter where Sky Sports put you on the team sheet. You guys just float between both sides. That's the player to look at.
I think that, like you said, that fluid front three is going to become a real thing for us. But I think then the midfield three is the biggest area. And
midfield's the key area, isn't it? Yeah.
On to the next question. Carter Stage asks, so you're both going to answer this, lads. Who would you choose if we're unable to get Partey? Kris, start with you first. He can't be French.
So, sorry, who would we choose if we can't get him?
Yeah. So you need a robust B2B who's got good technical ability, who's dynamic. Come on, Kris. You're the man. Tell us.
Aaron James No, I'm joking. That's just for you. Just because I like to see his face. Look at that little face. Look at him. And he can't. You say he can't be French? Well, that's my market. I mean, you're asking me to pull somebody out now. I don't even. I mean, based upon the sort of what you're looking for in that type of area. I think the two that stand out, actually, they are both French. One is Abdoulaye Doucouré at Watford, who is Premier League proven, is probably fairly cheap because you're getting him from a relegated side. And, of course, Watford's training ground is on the back of ours, so we could just hop over the fence. That's ideal. So that's probably one I'd have a little look at. And, I think the price-wise, he fits the bill. And he's big and physical. If you're going to go down a slightly different route, where you're looking at more of a sort of a player who can do the defensive work, a la more of a Flamini, shall we say, like, who's a bit more dynamic but likes a bit of shithousing. See, the trouble is the player I pick out is not affordable, and that's Eduardo Camavinga, who's at Rennes at the moment. But I think he's going to command a huge fee from one of the big groups. Houssam Aouar is another one I'll have a look at Lyon. Who do I need to
work with to bring this price down?
For who?
The boy that you like.
Camavinga. Who would you have to work with to get the price down, did you say?
Yeah, I'll go and give him a call now.
I'll send you the details. Just WhatsApp him. Just to get Kia Drabchin on it, it'll be fine. Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, there's other players around Europe, but the problem is the fee. That's the issue. Cayman's good shout. Sandro Tonali is another one in Italy. Again, really good holding central midfielder. Nicola Zaniolo at Roma is another one. But I think you're going to pay big money for that type of player. Thomas Partey, for me, ticks every box. And that's why I'm slightly disappointed that seems to have gone quiet. Slobozai at Red Bull Leipzig is another one, but I think he's going to cost
Salzburg.
Salzburg. He'll probably soon be at Red Bull Leipzig.
Yeah.
Savic,
Savic. Yeah, bit clunky for me. And again, Lazio will be looking for a fair amount of money for him.
This bar, I just put the box and said, "Fuck me."
Yeah.
David.
I trust in Arteta to get the right player. The one thing I would like to see is a bit more physicality. But again, it also depends. Xhaka is bringing that. So if you're going to stick with Xhaka and Ceballos, then arguably you need more of a dynamic, intricate sort of midfielder. Basically a Santi Cazorla to sit next to a destroyer. So if that's the case, then that's probably why, if you gave me unlimited money, okay, if Camavinga's out of the case, I'd have a look at Aouar at Lyon, because he can defend as well as he can attack.
You've stretched that out to 3/4 of an
hour.
I
have. I'm sorry. Luis Gustavo is another one at Fenerbahce. Quite neat.
Fuck off, Luis Gustavo. We know that you've run out of ideas now when you're saying Luis Gustavo.
Oh, he's not that bad. He's not that bad.
think it's about 4 or 5 years ago.
Worth Felipe Melo in next as a suggestion.
Oh, Felipe Melo. What a
Me, Kris, Dom, and Danny on a Skype chat. I go out on a date. I come back 5 hours later. Date didn't go well. It didn't go very well at all. They're still talking. The phone call started at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and it finished about 8 o'clock the next morning.
Oh, you know.
This is carpentering the shit out of it. This boy knows how to do it.
I would
Josh,
like Thomas.
shut up. I
Who would
want
I
two
pick?
names.
2 names. Well, Kris already took one of mine, so I'm going to continue and use. I'm going to have 3 names because Decore was going to be one of mine because you weren't going to allow Kris any French players, so I thought I'd slide a French player in instead for him.
You love to slide inside.
I'd take a certain midfielder from Juventus, Jason.
It's not Aaron Ramsey. No,
It's not. It's Bentancur. I'd take Bentancur.
Oh, yeah.
Let's get Lucas Torreira, put him on a rack and stretch him out so he's 6'2", and then that's Bentancur just going around. I'd love him. Love him to come and join us.
Boys,
He'd be
one
one of them.
2.5 hours. Okay, we're not going to do what about so and so and what about so and so. We're answering one last question.
I've still got one player to go. Hold on. I'm gonna drag this out now, Jace, just because of that. we're going for 3.5 hours now. Who would be the other one that I would take? Oh, it could be John Joe Shelvey. It could be John. No, because I don't want another player that takes shots from 40 yards. It's the bald Charlie Adam. On the upside, we could use Shelvey's head to tell the future if you rub it hard enough. I believe that's what Steve Bruce does for divine intervention. I would take. Going out there. Lewis Cook.
Christ,
Ooh. So
I thought you were going to go down the Philip Billing route, but you went left wide again.
I went, yeah. Everyone thought I'd go someone from Bournemouth. That's the problem. There is a serviceable midfield in Bournemouth somewhere. Just got to find it. Fortunately, Eddie Howe's now been sacked. So yeah.
Mutual.
Fuck off! He got sacked for being a wimpy little shit.
How did you get sacked?
He walked about an hour ago.
Yeah.
The best player is David Brooks, but we don't really need that type of player, do we? So.
Don't need any Welsh players.
No.
Been burnt by them before.
Still might be too hard. So last question today, and it's from Jimmy Howson. Sorry to ask, he says, but reports saying Ozil is just going to sit his contract out. What can we do to get him out of the club? This team can move on and not have to have this hanging over our heads moving forward. Josh, you first.
I think we just ignore it. Just doesn't happen. The only reason it becomes a thing is because people mention it. If you don't mention it, it stops being a thing. Yeah, exactly. Eventually, I think the one thing we need to do, and unfortunately, Arteta can't do it over a Zoom call at the moment, but once some journalists, probably the guy that calls himself Moose, who I swear, even over radio, you can smell how bad he is, says to Mikel Arteta some convoluted thing about Mesut Ozil, that Arteta just says, right, fuck it, rolls up his turtleneck, goes over and punches him square in the face. That is the only way people will stop talking about Mesut Ozil. But yeah, I think that's the only way we deal with it. I'm kind of comfortable with it now. It's just, Mesut Ozil's doing around. We don't know how much money we make off Mesut Ozil on the flip side of how much Mesut Ozil makes off us. How many millions of shirts are going to have Mesut Ozil on the back of it? That's paying, So one of the reasons Adidas kind of gave us so much money is because they know how many shirts they're going to sell with Ozil on the back of them. Can't hear you, Jace.
They've just dumped Mesut Ozil, haven't they? Adidas have.
It's like it's a. I think Simon said it in our group the other day. It's the classic Mexican standoff. It's who's going to blink first, isn't it? I mean, if we get an offer from arguably, I think the two countries that would be most keen at the moment would be America and Turkey for MLS or the Super League. I think that probably if the situation happens where a club says to us, look, we'll take him off your hands, but you need to pay half his wages, we might as well take it because we're not really good. We're not losing anything. But what we are losing is with the new Premier League rules is we're losing a squad place. That space is being taken. Very good. I hope it was nice. We're losing a place in the squad. That's the one issue I have with it. I agree with what Josh is saying. It's kind of that, let him rot in the reserves type of scenario. But that's a place that could be taken up with a first team squad player, not a young player who doesn't count, but an actual first team squad player that could come in and be utilised. The situation is toxic at this point. It's no good for Mesut. The bloke tweeted, "Well done to the lads after the game today," and all you have to do is scroll down his timeline, and it's just full of abuse. We don't need that. Like, this is a time we should just be celebrating an FA Cup. We're not directing our ire at a player who's nothing to do with the club right now. It's the same with Guendouzi. Like, they're clearly gone. We just need to move forward and find the best possible solution that fits all. And the best possible solution for Mesut is to be playing football, and he's not going to do that at Arsenal.
Jimmy H 29. My apologies. I thought you were Jimmy Howson. So my apologies, Jimmy H 29. You're Jimmy H 29. Not Jimmy Howson. Sorry, pal. And that was his question. I think the one thing that sort of strikes me about this whole scenario is he's got 12 months left in his contract. Okay, out of the 3 players that weren't named, that didn't take pay cuts, he's the only one whose name gets leaked. Right? He's put. To be fair to Mesut Ozil, he put up a lot of shit during the Emery era. He was playing fine before lockdown. What's happened since, we don't know. Nobody knows at this moment in time. There's lots of rumours, there's lots of things. But the vitriol aimed towards him is getting ridiculous. If we do stop talking about him, it's the only way to deal with it. He signed a contract in good faith. Whether his performances have been good or not doesn't matter a damn. Right?
His fault, is it?
Not being funny, under Emery, there were a lot of shit players. It's turned around under Mikel Arteta, Mustafi, Xhaka, do you know what I mean? The list goes on. His performances before lockdown were fine. He's created more chances than anybody else in this team. And he's only played a handful of games. We've got to sort of get off the hate train on this one. Whatever's going to happen this summer is going to happen. Hopefully we find a solution which fits all parties. But
we need to move forward from it, though, don't we? But whatever happens, we need to put it. We need to. It's not great right now. We need, and if we're going to move the whole club forward, we need. And as I said, my thoughts, Jace, on Guendouzi. I like him. I think he's a quality player. But even I have got to that point where I'm like, you don't want to get on board, you go, and that's got to be the same with Mesut, whether it's to do with the wages or not. He signed the contract that we offered him. He didn't do anything wrong. That wasn't his fault that we offered him ridiculous money. That was our choice. He's doing nothing wrong. But there are, some suggestions that he doesn't particularly train very well, that he's not particularly focused, and that's when you start to question his.
There's a lot of players who've been like that over the years, and unfortunately, they've been.
It's the same with Gareth at Madrid. He's lost that spark to play football.
Funny. I watch Bale play for Wales. He's epic. He's epic. Training session. A friend of mine, her son, and they're going to local Tesco's, and who was in the car next to them going up towards the junction?
Kieran
Gareth. And the corner looks like this. Oh my God, it's Gareth Bale. And Bale goes, hello. He just gives him a cheeky wave and a smile. It's made the kid's day. That's what he's like here. Okay. I was talking to Kev Gunner. And Kev Gunner lives in Madrid, and he's a Madrid star, whatever they call it. And as he says, he's had loads of stick from a lot of Madrid fans, but not all fans are like that. And I think we have to look at this and say, how do we get, if Ozil's not going to go, just being vile towards him isn't going to do any good because it's going to make him dig in. Let's show a bit of common decency on this matter.
And let's focus on the players who want to be here.
Absolutely.
If he doesn't want to be, then that's fair enough. That's his choice. He's got the right to sit on his contract, and we don't need to focus on him because he is not giving output to the club that we all support.
Absolutely. Right, that's it. That's it for this. Sorry, Josh, do you want to add anything?
Dennis Bergkamp's back. That's it. Everyone see Simon Collins ask that question to Mikel Arteta. Is Dennis Bergkamp coming back? And Mikel Arteta said, I do not know Dennis Bergkamp. Yeah, he's here. That was basically what I said. It's not verbatim, but that is basically what Mikel Arteta said.
No, he's from Ireland, but that rumour came out, didn't it, in the week that Dennis wants to come home. I'm all for it. Bring him home. What a man.
Yeah.
It would be lovely having him in the coaching staff just for
so much.
Just for the. I think it'd give me a boost.
I'd even take down his statue for him just to be there as one of those living statues.
That's the only thing, though.
All day.
Don't get him back. He's got a pole up his arse.
Oh,
that's going to be a nightmare transporting him round. He can't go into practice as it is. We'd never put him on the bus with a pole up his arse.
You never know. You don't know. We don't know what his boat, okay? But I think him working under 23s would be epic. Look, guys, thank you for the thanks. What a season. What a season. Massive thanks to all the guys. There's so many of you lot. Collins, Chimp have been on this season. Dom, John Welsh, Danny, Ellis Mel, that London guy, Carl Walker, who's crashing trains because he don't care anymore because we won the Olympic Cup. Okay, Femi, Rich Cactus Cash,
OG.
Shredder.
OG's been on, Shredder's been on, Nicky Wilson's been on. Oh, bloody hell.
Dave was on this season.
Dave was on this season, yeah. Dave's with us in spirit, regardless. We're so lucky to have been in part of his life. It's beyond. Corey Austin, sorry, I knew there was bloody somebody. Drew Thompson. Who am I missing, boys? I'm missing somebody.
From the main group.
Five.
All the people that came on for those single shows. We do remember you. We really do. This isn't just us forgetting because we're all drunk or just high on FA Cups. Jim Howson was on a show. Stan the Man was on a show.
Stan the Man's amazing.
Clicky.
The clicking guy.
Clicky McGrew.
No. Andrew, Dow Square to where? Alonso Spencer.
Alonso Spencer as well. I think Lana came on as well. Yeah. Loads of them. They're all over the fucking place, these people.
They get everywhere. It's like rats.
The best part about it, none of them are a patch on us. That's the best bit.
I don't know. I don't know. Have you heard tonight's show? It's awful. This is terrible. Thank you to everyone. I'm going to say it again because this has been a hell of a season. Steve, Dave, we can't get over it. We lost our heart and soul this season. And it's fucking horrific. It really is fucking horrific. And we will miss these guys forever. So that's that. But on to the big things. Oh, Sophie, Lana. Yeah, we mentioned Ellis. We mentioned Femi. Fenny has a shout out. Fenny always gets a shout out. The Gooner boys are on. Andrew and that fucking idiot. Mike, you're a fucking idiot. I mean, of you. To everybody in the chat box, you guys have stuck with us week in, week out. You've made us smile. You've made us laugh. You know, we've taken great solace from your support. It's meant the world. You know, we know your names. We interact with you on Twitter. God, some of you are on my WhatsApp. Some of you are on my fucking WhatsApp. It's ridiculous, okay? It's absolutely ridiculous that you're on my WhatsApp. But that's the way it is. You've been superb. You've kept the show going, and through such a tumultuous season, we really, really appreciate that. If you're listening on any other platforms, God, how have you got to this part? How have you got this far? You know, at least in the chat box, there's been some interaction. You know, you poor buggers have had to listen to all that crap. Kris carpentering the shit out of it for no reason whatsoever, other than shits and giggles. Josh actually been very funny tonight. Quite nice. I like Dark Josh. Dark Josh is good Josh.
All Josh is good Josh.
No, the Dark Josh is good Josh. The other Josh isn't good. But we really appreciate your support. You've been magnificent. So thank you very much. We've got a pot to show. We've got a pot to piss in at the end of the season. And it's so magnificent. Credit to Arteta. Credit to the guys. God save the Arsenal. Thank you for your support. Take care and keep it Arsenal. Good night.